What's up, legends, and welcome back to my Winter of Champions tournament gameplay series where I give my commentary over the recording of me playing in my tournament games. At this point, it's round 3, so I'm assuming you already are familiar with the tournament format and how it all works, and I can't be bothered explaining that right now, so I'm going to link to some resources down below if you want more information on that. And without further ado, we're just going to jump in. My round 3 opponent for this round, round 3, was Diddly Squatch, aka Squatch. And I won the die roll to determine leader or follower because I've been rolling like a menace this tournament. I've rolled a 100, an 81, and an 87. So I've gotten to pick all 3 rounds so far, and I decided to pick leader just because, there's a new meta with the Battle of Legends Volume 2 fighters, and honestly, I'm probably just a little bit more comfortable picking first because you get to strength pick. You just have a pretty big advantage in that regard over your opponent. And with the first pick, I pick Sherlock Holmes. He's a member of the Big 3 and is very hard to counter, very hard to play against. So if I actually get the chance to play as Sherlock, I'd feel pretty comfortable getting the win. My opponent, no surprise here, picks Medusa. Sherlock and Medusa or some combination of the two as the first 2 picks is pretty common, I think, just because they are, in my opinion, the 2 hardest to counter heroes in the game right now. They don't really have a lot of bad matchups, so picking them first is honestly just a really good idea for both sides because that gives your opponent as little opportunity to counterpick you as possible. So I pick Yananga second here just because I think she's on an equal power level with the Big 3, except she's good into the Big 3 and has some pretty bad, like mid-tier, even like relatively high-tier matchups. And it's a little bit of a risky pick, picking her this early, because now my opponent has 2 counterpick opportunities as follower, and it's relatively easy to counter Yananga because I'd say there's like maybe 5 or 6 like decent counters into her. Sinbad, which Squatch picks with his second pick, is probably her worst matchup, and then probably Bloody Mary or Bruce would be next. Little Red can do damage to her. Achilles, although that one's closer to a 50-50 as you saw in the last one. Dracula, Robin Hood, King Arthur, Alice. She has a lot of questionable matchups that I think if the Yananga player is skilled, maybe has matchup experience and just plays well, they can pull that off. But Sinbad is a pretty tough matchup for Yananga to come out on top of. So seeing Squatch be that aggressive with the counter pick on Yananga, I guess, was a little disheartening for me because I'm like, maybe it was a mistake to pick Yananga second. But now I just want to pick another solid, strong pick that probably would be good into both Medusa and Sinbad, along with some other common Yananga counters. And the people I have in mind for him to pick are probably either Bruce Lee or Mary, and maybe even a little Red in there. And so the hero I think will be good into a potential Yananga counter pick, as well as both Sinbad and Medusa, is the big man with big feet himself, Bigfoot, because he does very well into Sinbad and very well into Bruce and Bloody Mary too, because of their reliance on their card effects, and Bigfoot having so many cancels really shuts them down in those matchups. Bigfoot into Little Red, probably not as Bigfoot favored as I would want it to be, but I'm pretty comfortable playing that matchup. So yeah, I end up taking Bigfoot, the 3rd member of the Big 3, and I'm feeling pretty happy with my lineup because I'm assuming I'm going to get to play Yananga and then another member of the Big 3 or Big 4, whatever you want to call it. So I'm thinking my opponent is either going to pick Red, Bruce, or Mary. We'll see what happens there. You can see me eating right now. I'm eating some Kraft brand unicorn-shaped macaroni with Costco hot dogs cut up and put inside it. Excuse me. It was very delicious. Very, very delicious.
Better than eating like chips or something.
Oh boy, my opponent doesn't have his camera on, which is a completely acceptable decision, but that probably means most of you are watching me stuff my face with macaroni right now. And my opponent picks Bloody Mary with his 3rd overall pick. You'll love to see it because Mary, I think, is one of the most fun fighters in the game to play as and against. So you gotta respect the pick there. And you can see him very aggressively trying to counter Yananga with those last 2 picks especially. Medusa into Yananga is kind of more of a 50-50 matchup, so that's a fun one though, because it's as Zero Skater will say, it's a chess match. It's a lot of skill required to come out on top. And looking at the bans right now, he is going to leave Yananga up because he has 2 heroes that counter her, so it wouldn't make sense for him to ban Yananga if he was just gonna
have TTS as well.
because now he has Sinbad and Bloody Mary, and like, are they gonna get wins into my other fighters? Maybe not. So I can't ban Medusa. That would be a severe strategical error, because if I ban Medusa and he leaves Yananga up, I won't be able to get a win with Yananga, and of course in Conquest you need to get a win with both of your fighters in order to win the match. So banning Medusa is a no-go. I have to ban one of the Yananga counters so that when he leaves Yananga up, there's only one counter and then Medusa, and playing Yananga into Medusa will be fun, but I have faith in myself that I could pull that off if I needed to. So between Bloody Mary and Sinbad, I think Sinbad has the highest chance of winning that matchup just because he can deal so much damage with his voyages. His card draw is off the charts and his movement value is really good too. Actually, in round 2, I played the Sinbad side of the Sinbad Yananga matchup, and I think it would be fair to say that I won that pretty handedly. So I think that is something I would like to avoid. And the Bloody Mary Yananga matchup isn't horrible for Yananga. It might be terrible, but it's not horrible, if that makes sense. I think maybe like a 70-30 split in favor of Mary. I've actually won the Yananga side of that matchup before. I beat Hat Chowder, aka Connor, in the 3rd pool play game of the Battle of Legends Volume 2 release rumble. Just wanted to rub that in. I even took an undefended jump scare in that game because Hat Chowder lied to my face about that. So anyways, I'm thinking I'm going to ban Sinbad, and that will be that. Who do I think he's going to ban? He's probably not going to ban Yananga for reasons we've discussed. So I'm thinking he's probably going to ban Sherlock here. Although after I say that, I think Medusa does better into Sherlock than she does into Bigfoot. But is he expecting me to leave Medusa up? I guess I'm not sure. I guess I'm just assuming that Sherlock, he's basically an auto ban. He's a ban magnet, so I'm just assuming he's going to get banned, and it'll be Mary and Medusa, the 2 M's, strong females, versus Bigfoot and Yananga. So I'm gonna notch down Sinbad there to basically remind myself that that's what I want to do, and we'll probably just go. Ooh, I'm drinking in the video, so I'll drink in real life. Let's hydrate, homies. Oh, perfect. He's made a decision. So I'm gonna ban Sinbad, and he will ban Bigfoot. So that's interesting. I guess Bigfoot does really well into both Mary and Sinbad, and probably Medusa too, although I think that matchup is relatively close. It's hard for Bigfoot, but he can do it. So I actually think banning Bigfoot there is a respectable choice, considering that Bigfoot does like decently well into all of his picks, and in theory, Medusa can beat Sherlock. So now we're going on to the map bans. Let's skip ahead until the maps just appear on the screen. I am leader, so I'm drinking in the video. I'll drink in real life. Let's hydrate, homies. There we go. Refreshing data. Is it data or data? I think if you say data, you can leave. So just looking at these maps, I guess, and the characters I'm going to play against. What are the good Medusa maps? Basically anything that favors range. So probably Yukon, probably Sherwood, probably Marmorial. I think those are probably the best ranged maps. Maybe Hanging Gardens. Maybe Baskerville with all her harpies. Probably something in between those 5. What are Bloody Mary's best maps? Hero Hanging Gardens, and Baskerville. So there's some overlap there, but the Bloody Mary Yananga thing, or matchup, I should say, I'm not going to win that if I just like happen to be. Well, I might win that if I'm not on a good map for Bloody Mary, but the problem is I just listed 3 of them and I only have 1 ban, which means if he wants to play on a good map for Bloody Mary, he's going to get that map. So my thinking was I shouldn't try to ban one of those maps in the hopes of winning the Yananga Mary matchup. I should ban a map that's good for Medusa, especially if the Sherlock Medusa matchup comes up, because Yananga is ranged and her sidekicks are ranged, and Medusa's ranged but her sidekicks are melee. So if there's a ranged map for Medusa, it's also going to be decent for Yananga, but for Sherlock, that's an uphill matchup for me already, and I think taking away one of Medusa's best map options would be the best idea there, so that if the Sherlock Medusa matchup comes up, it's not completely horrible for me. And the best Medusa map in the game, in my opinion, is Sherwood Forest, because as you can see, there's no like hard cutoffs on this map. All the zones flow into each other. What do I mean by that? Well, you see this brown zone and the green zone are like, there's a double zone space or a bi zone space. And like the brown zone flows into the gray and the yellow, and the yellow flows into the white and the green, and the white flows into the dark green and the red. Like everything is connected. So for Medusa's ability, she can just stand in one of these tri-zone spaces in the middle and just make life a living hell for everyone else, because they can't attack her from anywhere adjacent to her and avoid her ability. Whereas compared to something like Sarpedon, if Medusa is standing here on this bi-zone space, I could attack her with Sherlock from this blue space and not be affected by her ability next turn. So this is what I mean by hard zone cutoff, whereas this is like a not a cutoff at all. And I think playing Sherlock on this map against Medusa would not be very fun. So I'm going to ban that, and we'll skip ahead until I actually just delete it from existence. We'll skip faster. There it is. It is gone. I have banished it to the Shadow Realm. Now, what does my opponent want to do? Well, obviously, they're not going to ban any of the Bloody Mary favored maps. Raptor Paddock also, I think, is decent for Mary, because it doesn't have a lot of tri or bi zone spaces on it. It's got some cutoffs. The Buffy maps, I don't think anyone ever bans. Marmorial is probably also good for Medusa, probably not going to get banned. I don't even know about any of these, but what my opponent ends up doing is banning Yukon, and I think that's because Bloody Mary as a solo hero is liable to get body blocked on that map, and she wants the best chance, or I should say the easiest chance against any of my characters that she can get. And if I am on Yukon and I body block her with archers, or I body block her with Watson, that's not going to be a fun time. He doesn't really have to worry about this, I don't think, because he has map pick for the first game. So obviously he can use that and send Mary somewhere that she would like to go. But it's still a decent pick, I guess. Maybe he doesn't want to get like death looped as Medusa or anything like that. I'm not really entirely sure, but like I said, I don't think the maps matter too much in this match, except for obviously Bloody Mary's going to pick a map that's good for her when Squatch has map pick, and I want to avoid a severely ranged favored map if Sherlock is going to wind up with Medusa. So for the blind picks, he has a counter pick in his lineup. He has Bloody Mary, who is really good into Yananga and really bad into Sherlock. So I'm assuming that he is going to pick Bloody Mary for the first game, because if he doesn't, let's say I pick Yanenga and he picks Medusa, and I win that matchup, he gets uber punished right there, because now Yanenga is off the table for me because I've gotten a win with her, and he still has Mary in his lineup and no favorable matchup left for her. So he basically needs to blind pick Mary here to ensure that he gets the matchup that he picked Mary to get. And I can kind of subvert that by picking Sherlock first, since I know that he has to pick Mary first. So I'll pick Sherlock first, get the easy win right off the bat. And if he picks Mary to avoid getting punished, which he did, he picked Mary. This is a very favorable matchup that I should come away with, and then he'll probably pick Mary in the second game with map advantage, since he's gonna probably lose game 1. And then the match will come down to a game 3 of Yanenga versus Medusa, and I'll have a map pick, hopefully. But of course, that all depends on me actually winning this matchup, him winning the next matchup, and so on. So what map is this going to be played on? Let's see what he decides. He gets to pick the map and starting position, so I'm assuming he is going to pick a Mary favored map and go first, which is exactly what he's doing. He's playing on Hanging Gardens. Excuse me. And I drank too much water. And spoiler alert, he's going to go first. So we're going to do something a little weird here. As you can see from this recording bar, which I think is showing up on the screen recording, this match is about 4.5 hours long. Each game was about an hour and a half. So for the interest of time, I'm actually going to skip game 1 simply because it's not very interesting. I end up winning as Sherlock, and it's just me doing Sherlock things, so I'm not really attacking that much, and I'm just playing a bunch of schemes and messing up Mary's hand and making third actions very hard to come by. And I think my time and your time would be better spent focusing on the 2 games that are just a little bit more interesting. So just know that this was it was still a good game, obviously, because Sherlock, getting to play him is always fun, but I just think you don't really need my commentary for that one, and this video might be close to 3 hours, so I would like to keep it as short as possible, because as my girlfriend said, if you post a 3-hour video, no one's gonna want to watch it. So we're gonna try to keep it short, and I'll see you at the beginning of game 2. Okay, so we're here at the beginning of game 2. Like I said, Sherlock beat Bloody Mary, so now Bloody Mary is going to play against Yanenga because Squatch lost, so he has map and starting position pick. So Mary does a lot better with those than without those. So he's going to pick another Mary favored map, in this case Hero, and he's going to go first, especially because on this map he can attack me on turn 1 and activate a jump scare potentially, which... oh boy. So let's shuffle, spam the button 60 times and see what I draw. We've got a surprise volley, a jaws, a rain of arrows, a 1 with the land, and another 1 with the land. So this is an interesting hand because the 1 with the land could be, the 2-1 with the lands could be really useful to heal early in the game, especially if I take a big hit from a jump scare or something like that. But the problem is I only have 1 block card in my hand. So if he attacks me turn 1, I only have 1 thing to play, and it's a Jaws of a Beast. That will be a 5, but if he plays a double attack, then I'll get a 3 thrown back at me, and I won't have anything to play into that. Which isn't the worst thing in the world, because I can just deal 1 damage to all of my fighters, since the archers will start in my zone, and then heal it back immediately with 1 with the land. But as a character with minimal card draw, I don't think I want to put myself at the mercy of whatever I draw on my first turn, being what I'm forced to block with. Especially if I drew like a shield formation as my only block card, and then he either had to play that with both of my archers still alive or just take the hit, which is always a little risky, but maybe not as risky when you're one of the tankiest characters in the game. So I think this is a mulligan turn for me. The other thing I need to think about is where to put my archers. I probably want to keep my archers next to me if possible so that I can choose where the damage goes if he attacks me. And he would have to boost to hit an archer. But if I put the archers in front of me, that means he'd have to boost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 2 to reach me, which he has a ton of boost fodder in his deck, so that won't really be an issue. Or he could attack the archers, and I think I want to protect the archers while they're at full health, just because I have to use my tankiness to my the best of my ability during this matchup. Look at me, all stoically pondering what I should do when the answer is clear as day. Maybe, I don't know. They're usually mulliganing could go either way, but yeah, I'm gonna end up mulliganing because I want a little bit more defensive options. Behold the might of the Cactus Cup. And yeah, depending on whether he keeps or mulligans might clue me into what he's going to attack me with on his first turn. If he keeps, he probably has a double attack or a jump scare or an ambush or something like that he is gonna want to wallop me with right away. We'll see. He keeps, so that means he probably does have something he wants to whack me with right away, and mulliganing for better defenses is probably going to be the right move in retrospect. So let's shuffle 50 times. Man, when they add an animation, Vorpal is going to be so much better than TTS. So we see one with the land, skirmish, skirmish, jaws, jaws. Okay, so I have one more option on defense, being the skirmish. Because even though I have 4 block cards, there really are 2 choices, 3 if you count taking an undefended hit. So I'm positioning my archers next to me, especially since I have one with the land. I want to deal them damage and then heal it right back. And because my opponent kept, we're going to assume he's going to attack me on his first turn.
Yes. He always says, I hope you draw well, but not as
So he's going to maneuver, I'm assuming, since he can get to Yanengo without boosting. Yeah, Hirurat is a really good map for aggressive fighters, especially move 3 fighters. So like the Raptors and Bloody Mary do really well on this map. Especially because depending on your opponent's sidekick composition, you can surround them with the... I'm drinking in the video, so drink in real life. Let's hydrate, homies. Saying depending on the amount of sidekicks your opponent has, you can actually surround them turn 1 with the Raptors without boosting, and then attack them on your second action with +2, which is really, really good. Let's skip ahead to the action. So yeah, he's going to maneuver and probably zoom on in, say hi to me. I am outside. Maybe he'll invite me in, even though I'm not a vampire. Okay, yeah, Mary's going to come for a stroll. And what is she going to attack me with? Or I should say, what am I going to block with? Jump scare, probably want to block rather than taking an undefended 6. Although a double attack or bonus attack, Bloody Reprise, I think is the name. Maybe it's Bloody Requiem, I don't remember which one is first. That would kind of suck because that would be a 4 or a 3 reflected at me, and these are kind of like my good block cards that I would rather not throw into that. But it is going to be a double attack, which is a little unfortunate, but I can use my skirmish effect because I actually win the first combat by not taking damage. So I can move either Bloody Mary or Yanenga with the after combat move effect. Probably want to keep Yanenga in the same zone as my archers. So if I'm going to move her, I would move her there. But I think I'd rather just move Bloody Mary further away from me if possible. I don't know if I have the cards in hand to attack her if I wanted to. I probably would like a rain of arrows or something, like a shift maybe to attack her with. So I'm going to move her away from me, and then I'm getting the 4 thrown back in my face, which I will take. I'll just take it. I won't defend, mostly because of this one with the land. I think if I didn't have that, I would defend that. But basically, I deal 2 to Yananga and 1 to each archer, and I plan on healing it back with 1 with the land, because that'll put both of the archers back at full health and put me at 14. So effectively, I just took a 4 to the face and come away with 1 damage on me. So I have to do it in the order on the card, or I have to do the effects in the order. So I'm going to move the archers and Yananga up to 2 spaces. So we'll start shifting away from Bloody Mary. She's kind of on this side of the map, so we're going to shift down here. All my fighters will heal 1, and then I will draw a card. So I drew a stallion charge, but I probably just want to maneuver again for as many options as possible and set up the best positioning I can. A lot of purple cards in my hand, which is a strength of Yananga because she has a pretty versatile deck, and that allows her to block or attack with a majority of her deck, which is very good. So for the positioning here, I want to protect my archers. Bloody Mary is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away from the archers here. 1, 2 spaces away from Yananga here. If I close the door, he could still reach me with a maneuver, so there really isn't any point. And both of the archers are in my zone for maximum damage dispersion, and Bloody Mary is in a yellow zone, and the only space adjacent to Yananga is yellow, so she can not trigger a jump scare the next time she attacks me, which I hope I remember. It's really easy to look at that stuff in hindsight, whereas in the game, there's just a lot to remember. So let's see what Mary does on their turn. She's going to maneuver. I don't know whether to say she or he, because the player is a he, but Mary the hero is a she. I'll probably just say he because it's Squatch's actions that are doing everything. Squatch will maneuver. I think he's deciding whether or not he wants to go around and hit the archer or just smack Yananga. I think I'm down for a smack, considering that I'm at basically full health. I have a bunch of defensive options, and the archers are both in my zone. Although I would really love to see an archer revive card soon, so that I could just yeet an archer off the board by saving me 2 damage and then revive it back with that card. Getting the 1 with the land was nice for the full 3 value heal. That was really good early. But in the middle of the game, basically, if you have 1 with the land or an archer revive card, that kind of determines whether or not you keep your archers alive or just yeet them and make them soak up damage. So this is still the middle of Mary's maneuver. He's going to move. Right next to me. Okay. Saw that coming. I guess he didn't want to boost, which is, I guess, good for me because it keeps his hand count up. I'm assuming he's going to attack me. So what do I want to block with here? It's probably not a jump scare because it wouldn't trigger. So I think the most likely thing would be a double attack. Probably, except what are the odds that he has a second double attack? Could be an ambush, or could be a bait attack like Trick of the Light, maybe a Broken Glass. A lot of things here. Broken Glass pretty much triggers on every card in my deck except for Pin the Prey. But I think actually taking it here is the best option, considering how much health I have and just both of my archers, and I don't need to spend a big card on this because I know it's not a jump scare, but like Jaws would be, I think, a waste here. Although taking it is a little risky, but like, what's the biggest punish? It could be a 4 with broken glass, could be just a 3 double attack, could be a 4 infinity mirror. I guess he could play the ghostly touch non-third action just so he can boost it, although that would be a maximum 5 if he had a double attack, and if he's doing that, he probably should just take the double instead. So he's going to play a broken glass, so I will take 4 damage, I'm assuming, because he's going to bump it up.
So you want to make that a 2, right?
Let's listen in. Okay. Just to confirm, yeah, he's going to make that a 4. So Yanenga is going to take 2, and the archers will each take 1. Be really good if I had the second one with the land there, but I think my reasoning for doing that is because now I can kind of just surround Yanenga in this corridor section and make him attack an archer in order to actually hit me. So I made the archers take 1 damage each, so now they're effectively just really good meat shields. Thinking about whether I want to attack right now or kind of move into a more defensive stance. If I move into a defensive stance and just double maneuver, he can just not engage me on his turn and go up to 7 cards as well, and that'll make me use make me make the first move, I guess, which could be a big punish if I had to boost to reach him, which is why I'm going to attack him with my first action so that that kind of game flow doesn't happen on me. Basically, if you're going to get to 7 cards in your hand first, depending on the amount of passes you have, you will be forced to make the first move, and I didn't really want to do that. Okay, so he is going to feint.
No effect.
So my stallion charge just does 1 damage, and I don't get the effect.
Maneuver.
And I will maneuver on my second action and draw another stallion charge. So a potential problem that could arise from me drawing so many versatile cards is that if I want to keep pressure on Mary and keep attacking her, I'll have to use versatiles, which are cards that I can also use to block with. And I just got to be really careful that I don't run out of block options, because Mary can hit pretty big late in the game, especially with jump scare and speak 3 times. So I think I'm debating whether or not I want to close the door here or not. And again, it doesn't matter just because Mary is so fast and this map is so small. Move 3 heroes have a big advantage against move 2 heroes on this map, just because of the nature of spending a movement point to close the door. Or sorry, spend a movement point to open the door. Closing it is free. I'm drinking in the video, so let's drink in real life. Hydrate, homies. And just her being able to move 2 and then open versus me being able to move 1 and then open is literally double the movement if you want to open the doors. So it's working out in Mary's favor a lot more than it is mine, especially with the amount of just different zones on this map. Like this orange zone, there's a hard cutoff there. Just if she's in this yellow zone, or this yellow space I should say, just it's pretty easy for her to get out of the yellow zone just with her move 3. There's some hard cutoffs here in between this dark blue zone and the yellow versus the orange and the red. It's just it's a nightmare to play against Mary on this map. So Squatch is going to maneuver here. Probably should move in and attack if he wants to keep up the pressure, although he would have to attack an archer, and maybe that's not what he wants to do. So he's going to move there. He's going to close the door behind him, which is free. Notice that I think this does actually trigger jump scare, because this this space is now in a different zone than this space because the door is separating it, and he started his turn in this space, which is now in a different zone. But I think he's going to close the door on the archer because he's not actually going to attack. I think he's going to steal my memories. Yep, so he's going to look at my hand. He's going to choose a card for me to basically have the option of either keeping and taking damage equal to its boost value, or pitching. And Jaws and Stallion Charge are boost 3s, and Shift and Skirmish are boost 2s.
I'm going to put this at the beginning of the video now.
No, you're just gonna put it on loop.
And I don't think I'm going to be keeping anything that he picks. We'll just skip, just because 2 health would be just probably a little too much for Yananga to tank, and 3 health, I guess, is way too much. So I could choose whether to, if you pick skirmish, I could just kill both the archers instead of having Yananga take damage, but I don't have any archer revives, and that could potentially be a problem if he's going to hit me with something big. So he's going to pick Stallion Charge, which I will just happily get rid of just because 3 damage is a lot to take, and in this matchup, Yananga needs to use her tankiness and try to survive Mary's onslaught, which is very difficult without cancels. I'm going to mix up my hands so that he doesn't know what's in it. I think I'll start off with a maneuver. 1 with the land, which was actually an insane top deck considering the state of all my fighters. So I could play 1 with the land now for the full value. The problem with that is that he would know exactly what's in my hand. So is that a worthy trade-off for me or not? If I keep this position and make it so that he can't attack Yananga and he has to attack an archer first, that could be potentially fine if I just intend on sacrificing an archer, although that is kind of a waste of a full health sidekick. But at the same time, if I just, I guess I'm maneuvering, so I haven't moved any of my fighters yet because I'm thinking about what I want to do. I could open the door and attack Mary or something like that, although he knows all the options it could be, although there is 1 mystery card. So I'm kind of in a rough spot just because he has almost perfect information on my hand. And if I don't play 1 with the land now, while I have it perfectly set up, he might kill an archer and then I can't get full value out of that. So I'm just moving away from Mary. And this is where I have to make that choice.
Not anymore, no. I stopped.
With 4 cards in his hand, though, actually, I should mention this. I probably didn't want to attack him there because that would put him down to 3 if he blocked. So actually, yeah, attacking is not the play there. I think either double maneuvering or playing 1 with the land here is fine. Although I forget that 1 with the land draws a card, so he wouldn't have perfect information on my hand if I played that. So now, in retrospect, after remembering both of those things, those crucial details, I think playing 1 with the land is the best decision here so that I can get full value out of it while I can. And I probably just would move Yananga back into the starting position so that Bloody Mary has to hit her or boost to hit an archer, which actually she might want to do so that she goes down to 3 cards in hand on her turn, but we'll see. So I'm going to move first because you have to do the effects in the order on the card. Then all my fighters will heal 1, and I will draw a card. So interesting thing to point out. Ooh, I drew my other scheme. Interesting thing to point out. I took an undefended Bloody Reprise, which was a 4 value due to the skirmish blocking Bloody Requiem, and I took a 4 value Broken Glass to the face. So I took 8 damage to my frontal lobe. And the only thing that Squatch has to show for it is that I'm at 13 health instead of 15, which is just ridiculous. Though I have healed for 6 technically, so. I basically healed as much as Bloody Mary will all game. He's going to open up with a maneuver. Sorry, I'm recording this in the middle of the night. Forgive the yawn.
The cat is trying to rip up the carpet.
Let's skip ahead and see what he ends up doing. I'm assuming he's just going to go attack Yananga, which is what it looks like. He's thinking about opening the door or not. If he wants to hit this archer, it'd be 1 open, 2, 3, 4. If he wants to hit this archer, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If he wants to hit me, it would just be 1, 2. So if he boosted, though, he'd go down to 4, and then if he attacked, he'd be at 3, which if he has like an evade or another broken glass in his hand would be good for him. But using the power of dramatic irony, we know, looking at my hand, that it would not be good for him because I would be able to attack him at least 3 times if I wanted to, and probably be able to mess up that. So I think him not boosting, he doesn't need to be super greedy. Look, I gave myself a mustache. How funny. How funny. Man, give me some mac and cheese and I just get goofy. I think him boosting in there to end at 3 cards would be a little greedy, just knowing what's in my hand. Jump scare cannot trigger this turn because he started in the yellow and red. I hope I remember that in the game. So what is he going to attack with? Either probably Trick of the Light or the double attack, or ooh, okay, so this changes things. He's going to play Closer Than She Appears. He gets to move Mary 1 space, which doesn't really matter here. He gets to draw a card and gain an action. So now what is he probably going to play? Well, Ghostly Touch wouldn't heal for 3. It would only heal for 1, so it's probably not going to be that. It could be the Ambush, and it could be the 7. Although those aren't necessarily the best of options, considering that I have both of my archers to tank damage if he does play that, and it can't be a jump scare. So this actually would be a great time for him to bait with something like Trick of the Light or the double attack, because none of his third action cards are really that great here. So playing Closer Than She Appears, I don't think was really the best option for him, but it does make me wonder, I guess, because if it is the 7, I probably want to block that. Although that would be a great time to play like a bait, as in Trick of the Light or the double attack or even Broken Glass. So it's these are the mind games that either make or break the game. So what do I want to do here? If I block with the Skirmish, I would take 3, which would mean basically dealing 1 to all my fighters, I think. Jaws would be a 5, which isn't that bad of an option, considering if it is the Ambush card, I definitely won't take damage from that. Although I wouldn't take damage if I played Skirmish either. So, actually, Jaws wouldn't get wrecked by Broken Glass, which is, I think, why I play it here. And it ends up being a bait, Bloody Requiem. So I don't take any damage from the printed 3, but then I'm getting 3 thrown at me with the Reprise because my Jaws is a 3. And this is kind of a tricky situation because I can either take it or probably throw out a Shift on defense. And Shift on defense is not really what I want to see, because that's a really good card to play into Mary because it prevents Broken Glass from triggering, and it hits for 2 over Mirror Image. But I end up taking it and just dealing 3 damage between both of my archers, so 1 is kept alive at 1 health.
Alright.
So that was 2 to the archer and
1 to the other archer.
Both the archers, right?
Yeah.
Got it. Killed 1.
I think that's actually a misplay on my part. I should have kept the archer alive in this space, just because Bloody Mary is on the low side of the map. And if I just maneuver and put Yanega there, I'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away instead of being 3 spaces away on this side either. But I just end up moving to that side anyway, so just making it slightly harder on myself. I'm just going to double maneuver here because, again, he's at 4 cards in hand, so if I attack him, he's going to go down to 3 and get another third action, which we don't want to give him. Although this is kind of the situation we talked about before, because now he can go up to 6 cards and I'll be forced to engage with him on my turn since I'm going to get a full hand before him. And because I took a more defensive position here, I'm probably going to have to boost if I want to hit him. And again, I just keep drawing versatile cards. I think I have maybe 20 in my deck because I have 4 schemes and 6 red cards. So I have, oh wait, no, I have two shield formations and there are 4 archer cards. So that's 6, so 14. I have 14 Yanenga or any versatiles, and I've already played 4, so I have 10 left. So I have 12 block cards left, which is something I need to be very mindful of because Mary still has 6 red cards, 7 if you include the last double attack, 2 broken glasses, 3 trick of the light, so that's 12 attacks right there. And she still has other cards like Infinity Mirror, so I just need to be very cognizant of the cards I am using, and most of my healing, actually all of my healing is gone. The only like health I have left are on my Archer Revives. Shield Formation I think will be an instant discard, especially with crap cards like Trick of the Light in Mary's deck, and so I have 3 surprise volleys left to get archers back. He only has 1 feint left because he played one, I think, the first time I attacked him. Yeah, into that stallion charge on my first turn. Maybe it was my second turn, I don't really remember. But so I'm going to get 2 more archers guaranteed. So effectively I'm at 13 health. Can't heal because both one with the lands are already played. So 2 guaranteed archers plus the 1 health back is 5, or the 1 health on the archer right there. So I'm effectively at 18 health. So I just got to be very careful, especially because Jaws will probably be like a 5 into a 7, so that's 2 damage there. The double attack is going to hit hard, especially because all my printed values are just like mediocre, but that it's like in a weird place where if I play a block against the double attack, at this point I probably need to play another card against it too, just because taking 3 is like not good right now. I forget what exactly we're talking about here, but you can see he placed Mary in a way that I would have to boost to actually hit him, because I could move 2 spaces, but these are in different zones because the door is closed. So it was I think a little bit of a tactical error, in my opinion, being so defensive, just because now I have to expend a lot of cards to actually end up hitting him on this turn. Wow, we just had like a full-on conversation in the middle of the game. And I'm skipping through it, so I obviously can't hear what we're saying, but that's why this match was Behold the Mighty Cactus Cup. That's why this match was 4.5 hours long. I'm assuming I'm going to maneuver first action on my turn. Probably want to not play Master of the Hunt right away. Although, who knows? If I could play Master of the Hunt, that means I could double maneuver and then not have to boost and then attack him on my third action. So I drew a double attack, the first red card. So actually, I think that play that I just said in my mind was better than what ended up happening, because if I Master of the Hunt first, then I still have 3 actions. So I can maneuver, and then that way I don't have to boost in order to open the door and hit him. And then on my 4th action, actually, because playing the scheme is 1, it gives me 2 and 3, and then I have the 4th action, which was originally my 2nd action. If I do that, I don't have to boost to hit him, and I'm at 7 cards in hand afterwards. Then I attack him and go down to 6. Playing that scheme first, I think, definitely would have been the move, since I have to attack him here. And now that I maneuvered first, I have to boost to hit him, which is going to require spending a shift, which, like I mentioned before, on offense is pretty good in this deck. So I'm going to move the archer there, open the door, move Yanenga there.
And then we'll have...
Interesting that I only moved the archer 2. Could have moved it 2 more spaces because it started here, so I could have gone 1, open 2, 3, 4. Could have moved Yanenga there so that they were in the same zone, but I guess I'm like feigning a divide and conquer there. So this is when I mastered the hunt, so I still have or I guess I have 3 actions now, because I have 2 more actions because I played that on my second action, so it gives me my 3rd and 4th action. So now I'm going to attack him. He has 6 cards in hand. So I don't want to use the double attack here, because if I want to attack him twice and I play the double attack and another attack, he can block 3 times and start his turn at 3 in hand. So I think I just have to use 2 like normal attacks here. I'm not going to use Jaws because that would only be a 4. Skirmish is solid on defense, so I think I'm going to use Stallion Charge first. That way, if he plays like an Infinity Mirror or something like that, I can chase him and then play Shift on my last action and attack him. And that leaves me with 2 solid defense cards in hand for him to counterattack, which might be risky, especially because he has 1 double attack left, but he only has 1 of those in his deck of 18 cards, and he had 6 in hand, so what are the odds there? Like 25%. So he plays a mirror image, so he doesn't take any damage from the actual value, but then I move through him and deal him 1 damage, and there go all my Stallion Charges. And now I think I can either attack him with a Shift and put him at 4 in hand, or I can maneuver again. And I think I end up maneuvering, but that, I think in retrospect, is kind of the bad passive play. Although seeing him play a mirror image there is a little disheartening, because that means it's probably very unlikely he has another one that he's going to use on defense this turn, so I can't use my Shift to deal him 2 damage, which I think is the ideal outcome. So I think if I attacked with a Shift first there, it might have been good if he ended up playing that card still, because then I could use Stallion Charge and move through him, but then away from him, potentially even into the archer zone to kite with advantage. So overall, I think this turn is a little bit botched in retrospect, but that's what happens when you get to hyper analyze everything with semi-perfect information. So here comes the Shift. Let's see what he ends up doing. I am leaving myself very vulnerable right now to a Closer Than She Appears, Stolen Memories, 3rd action attack turn, which would kind of suck. But he plays an Evade with 5 or 4 in hand to go back up to 5. And he takes 2 damage from the Shift, which I guess is still a win for us. But now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my, 12 versatile cards. So I have 5 purples left and 2 blues. I think I'm doing that math right. Excuse me, been drinking too much water. So I think this was the moment, you can see it on my face, where I'm like slightly worried, where I'm like, I'm spending a lot of my block cards on these attack actions. I wonder if that's gonna hurt me down the road. So, especially because the other versatile that I haven't drawn yet is Point Blank, which is a 2-value versatile. So if I'm using that on defense, I'm probably going to take damage, which is not very good when you don't really have your network of health, your portable health kits. Let's skip ahead and see what he does. Like I said, Closer, Stolen, 3rd action attack would be a really good combo here, especially if it was the ambush. Oh, so he is going to Closer and move 1 space. So now he has 2 actions. And he's going to... no, he's drawing from the scheme effect, of course. If he attacks me here, I might be fine with that. If he attacks me 2nd action, I should say. Because then I can skirmish and probably win the combat. I think I win the combat on anything but a jump scare, and jump scare won't trigger because he started in the orange. So I can play skirmish if he attacks me here, and then move one of us away from each other so that he can't attack me on his 3rd action. which is why I think the right play for him to do now is to either play the other Stolen Memories, which I think if he had it, he would, or just maneuver again. And actually, I think he still knows what about my hand. He probably still knows I have a Jaws, and I don't remember if I had two. No, I only had one skirmish in hand when he did that, although I don't remember if I had played the skirmish or if it was before. Okay. I probably knew in the game. But what I meant was he used Stolen Memories and looked at my hand. This Jaws was in my hand. I had Jaws, Stallion, Shift, Skirmish. And I don't know if this is the skirmish he saw or this was the skirmish he saw, and I played it. Actually, I played Skirmish on my first turn as a defense because he attacked me with the double. So he definitely still... Okay, so he knows I have these cards in my hand. If he remembers, that's totally up to him. I always write down information about my opponent's hand so that I don't forget, because this is a miniatures dueling skirmish game, not a memory game. He's going to attack me, so I can confidently play this skirmish, knowing that I can move away from him. And this was the big punish because it's his third double attack, so he drew all three in the top half of his deck. No, I'm not salty at all. So I'm getting a 4 thrown at me. But I do win the combat because I don't take any damage. So using my skirmish effect, I will move him away from me and effectively waste his 3 action turn. My mouse is very sensitive. Sorry that I zoomed out. So I can either play Jaws for 4, which I end up doing, or I can take the 4. Probably would have been... Well, I could have moved into the yellow zone. I could have moved myself with the skirmish effect, if especially since Bloody Mary still has an action, so he's probably going to maneuver and just change his movement anyway. So I probably just should have done mine since Bloody Mary's was going to change. And there go 2 of my really good black cards that are gone. So what do I have left? I think I only have 2 skirmishes. Behold the mighty Cactus Cup. I have a Jaws, a Shift, 3 point blanks, and 2 shield formations on defense, I believe, which is only 7 cards, and he still has all 6 of his third action attacks. Oh boy. Whether or not he's actually going to get 6 3 action turns without either of his closer than she appears is probably up to me. Because I can't let him do that. I can't let him get a natural 3 action turn. So I want to avoid giving him any, which means probably not attacking him when he has 4 cards in hand and hoping he doesn't have any card draw in hand if I attack him with 3 cards in hand, as in he has 3 cards in hand. So right now, it doesn't... So right now on paper, it doesn't look bad for me, but... I mean, like, on paper, meaning looking at the scoreboard, but in terms of the actual resources I have left, I think it's looking pretty bad. Because this is what Bloody Mary does. She still has a ton of burst left in her deck with Speak 3 times and Jump Scare, and I currently do not have a lot of archers back. I don't have any... ways to get them back either. He's gonna boost with an out of the mirror. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's closing both of those doors. 5, and he's going in that middle yellow space. Interesting that he's closing the doors. I guess he's making it so that I am trapped. But to quote the great Rorschach, "I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me." That was a Watchmen reference, which is one of my favorite movies. I read the graphic novel too. It's really good. I drew Divide and Conquer, which is a not good card to draw in this scenario because I don't have anything to block with in terms of Yanenga. So I probably want to move my fighters together while staying as far away from Mary as possible, which is hard when she's so dang fast. But I'm double maneuvering, so I can move each of them 4 essentially. So I think I should go probably up to this high side and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and move the archer in the middle of the doorway, because that means she'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away from me. That seems like a good setup for right now. And then if she doesn't kill the archer, I just jump over it over here and then set up a defensive positioning there. But instead I'm going to cut through the middle of the map, which I'm not so sure about.
I'll maneuver again.
And there's a point blank, so now if I get attacked, I have something to block with. So I'm probably going to... I see what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep it so that Yenega and the archer are in the same zone, which is why I'm doing that. Oh, but then I close the door so that they're not. Perfect. So now Yenega is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 open spaces away from Yenega, or open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she has to boost with a 2 or a 3, and she still has all 3 Trick of the Lights left. So I'm assuming she has at least 1 in her hand. So she could reach me this turn if she wants to. Actually, it might be smart for her to actually go around the door instead of going into this orange space, just because that way I can't divert 1 point of damage to the archer. Although, based on how defensive I'm playing right now, I'm not sure if I'm telegraphing my lack of quality blocks or not. It's kind of hard to judge exactly what your opponent's hand situation looks like, especially because some characters like Bloody Mary, you can play super aggressively and keep your low hand count, and your opponent just like won't attack you when you have 4 cards in your hand, even if you have no defenses. It's just something really funny that happens. Bloody Mary's gonna move. No, hokey pokey, going in, going out. Looks like she's going to attack the archer, which actually would be a really good time to play Divide and Conquer here, because it would be a 4. Although, what would that die to? That would die to a broken glass. Okay, so she's not going to attack the archer. She's thinking real hard about this. She's opening the door. So that's 1, 2, because closing is free. So open 1, move 2, move 3. I think she's thinking about boosting right now. Or a double maneuver turn. I'm praying for a double maneuver turn. That's what I'm doing, but we'll skip. Okay, so he ended up double maneuvering and he moved 1 right there. He did not move into this space because I guess he didn't want me to attack him. So I draw my first Archer Revive card. What's the 15th card in my deck? And I'm going to move. We're going to move and run because now my opponent has 6 cards in hand, so he will be forced to take the first action. And just to note what I did there, I think I opened the door as the archer and moved for 2, then moved Yenega, close for free, and then moved 2 there. So perfectly legal play. Pay no attention to the man in the corner. I draw another Master of the Hunt when I just want to draw a block card. Although I have the forming of a combo turn with Master, Surprise, and Rain of Arrows. Except the problem is combo turns don't really work on Mary because cards like Evade and Broken Glass exist. So I kind of just swung around to the other side of the building, and am again taking a kind of defensive stance. Bloody Mary has to boost to reach me, and I'm in the same zone as my archer. Let's skip to see what Squatch does on his turn. He's going to maneuver. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am 5 or 6 spaces away from him, depending on the pathing he wants to take. Like I said, he still has all 3 Trick of the Lights, probably has 1 in his hand, so boosting for 6 and just going through the building is not out of the question. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, probably boost, just close the distance 1, 2. I think going in the center probably is a better option for him, because if he stays on the edges, it just makes him probably have to boost more later in the game as well. He's going to boost with a Speak 3 times, which makes me very happy, because that's just some damage that I don't have to take now. The only block card in my hand right now is Point Blank, so you know what I'm blocking with if he attacks me, especially since we haven't seen a jump scare yet. My computer fan does not like this. Oh, he's hokey pokeying with that attack card. No, he's going to commit to it. I will block with a Point Blank, and it is a Broken Glass, so he can either make it a 4, deal me 2 damage, make it a 3, deal me 1 damage, or make it a 2, deal me 2 damage after combat and draw a card. I'm going to listen in and see what he chooses to do.
Actually, I will kill my archer.
So I'm going to take 1, kill my archer, and he's going to draw, meaning that he made his Broken Glass a 2. So basically, we both took 2 damage there, which might seem like a win for me since I have more health, and I just dealt 1 damage to an archer, but my health pool is fleeting and depleting very quickly. I drew a Jaws of the Beast, which is good. It's a block card. Block cards are good, but because it's the only one in my hand, that means I kind of have to play it if he attacks me. So I'm going to maneuver again, and I draw another frickin' archer card. So the only block in my hand is Jaws of the Beast. So it's kind of like the same situation where I'm pigeonholed into blocking with that. And I'm just moving as far away from him as I can. He is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, open 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to Stolen Memories. And I think if I were him, I would pick Jaws. Like, I wouldn't be afraid of getting attacked right now. I would just want to yeet out one of my best block cards. Because there's no way I would take 3 damage at this point in the game with no archers around to keep that. Although there are some good options here. I have a lot of high boost value cards. Interesting to see him playing Stolen Memories when he doesn't have the chance to attack immediately afterwards. I think Stolen Memories is really good when you have the opportunity to attack your opponent with perfect hand knowledge and knowledge of their blocks and stuff. It's a really useful first or second action of a 3 action turn, especially because then you get to figure out if your opponent has feints or not in their hand when you're going to use one of your precious 3rd action attack cards on them.
Goodbye.
Okay, so he chose Surprise Volley. I just have to eat that because it's not getting 2 health from an archer isn't worth spending 3 now, especially because he still has 1 more feint. So now I have only 1 more guaranteed archer revive left, assuming that he feints the another Surprise Volley and discards on the shield formations. So my max health is, I think, at a minimum 14 right now, and he's going to maneuver second action, which is still good because now if I double maneuver on my turn, which I probably want to since I don't have any black cards in my hand, and he knows that I don't have any black cards in my hand, I will go up to 7, and he will be forced to take the first move on his turn, and he doesn't have any passes left since he's played both Stolen Memories. He will be forced to come aggress me. which I guess isn't really that good since I don't really have that many good block cards. The problem for me this game was I didn't get very many attacks early, and I had to spend my versatiles maybe a bit foolishly on double attacks and things like that, and my archer cards didn't show up, meaning that I was making attacks with like Yanenga any cards instead of crap like that. So I drew another point blank, which is good. I have options now, but Mary is in a very centralized position, and I'm pretty sure like I can't escape her wherever I go. I think I either want to be next to as many buy zone spaces as possible so that Jaws will trigger, or I won't. Well, actually, I probably want to do that, or just try to minimize the damage that she could deal to me with a jump scare, which is still pretty hard to do.
And it's your turn.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go there and make it so that she has to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, open 3, 4. I'm shuffling up my hand because he looked at it. Or go 1, 2, open 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm basically making him, if he wants to make Jaws a 4, he has to boost with a 3, which, like I said, he hasn't played any Trick of the Lights yet. Why is he holding on to them so long? So he can probably afford to do that. Kind of in a rough spot right now. Bad times at the El Royale, as they say. Let's skip ahead until he makes a decision. So he's going to use Ghostly Touch and Boost. Go 1, 2, open 3, 4. Interesting that he didn't use a Trick of the Light. I so desperately want to be right. And he's going to attack me. Actually, really interesting using a Ghostly Touch there, because that heal is guaranteed if he does it on his third action, but maybe he realizes that he just needs damage right now and doesn't need to survive the long game against me. And I think he started here, so I don't think Jump Scare can trigger. So he played an Out of the Mirror, so it's an ambush, so we're going to have RNG decide my fate. Got a lot of high boost values. I really want this Divide and Conquer to get taken, or even the Pin the Prey. Just 2 of those cards. 33% chance. And nope, he gets the best one. So he knocked out both of my defenses there. Not very good. And he got a high boost value, so his is a 4. So we each take 2, which again is not really a good trade for me there. Oh well, as they say. Oh well. But at least I was comfortably able to play a point blank there and not really fear a big 4 damage swing from a jump scare.
I'll have Yanenga attack Bloody Mary.
I'm going to attack her first action with the Archer Revive card that he does not know I have in my hand. Although he does know I have a Rain of Arrows, so how will he respond? Behold the might of the Cactus Cup. And he's going to play a Feint, which pretty unfortunate for me. I guess that's on me for playing that when he knew I had a double attack in my hand. And now I'm kind of stuck in a situation where I can either maneuver and rely on RNG for whatever's at the top of my deck to give me something to block with, or I can play Master of the Hunt and probably double maneuver. Do I want to risk it? I'm thinking of risking it. You saw me hover over that. I think I'm calculating the odds of how many blocks I have left in my deck, which I think is like 4 maybe. So yeah, I'm going to play Master of the Hunt and just do a nice wussy double maneuver, I think. I'm going to draw another Rain of Arrows, move away, and maneuver again and draw a point blank. So yes, if I just single maneuvered there, I would have been heavily punished because I wouldn't have had any black cards in my hand. And now at least I have a point blank, but I probably just want to keep moving as far away from her as possible because I smell a jump scare coming, and I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Yep, I'm just going to move 4 spaces away. So now he has to boost if he wants to hit me. And man, if only I had an archer left to play some of their cards for. Yeah, that feint was a big turning point, because I thought he would just like play normal defense cards into maybe the rain of arrows, but I guess the guaranteed feint helped with his hand count or something. I wasn't really paying attention. As you can see, I've been doing a good job of not giving him any third actions this game. He's only gotten 2 so far, with both copies of Closer Than She Appears, and one of them was a double attack, Behold the Might of the Cactus Cup, and one of them was wasted when I did that sweet skirmish play and moved him away on his third action. So I'm assuming he's thinking of whether or not he wants to boost in and hit me, which, if I were him, that's what I would be doing. I guess his maybe qualm with boosting in is that he would be at 4 after a boost, and then if he hit me, he would be at 3. So I would probably want to attack him with a double attack, and he still knows I have a double attack, at least one. So depending on whether he has some of the evades or broken glasses that are left, that'll be really telling. So he yeets his second copy of Ghostly Touch, which is surprising to me because now his health is capped at 7 and it's not getting any higher. So I'm formulating. You can see the gears turning right now. I'm thinking about how I can end the game. And the problem is he still has so many cards to block with. He still has 3 tricks, 1 broken glass, 2 evades, a mirror image, and 2 infinity mirrors. So he has at least 10 cards to block with if I'm not forgetting anything. And I am running out of things to block with, but I guess I still have a couple attacks that'll knock a couple cards out of his hand. The problem is I don't think I'll have enough steam to close out the game that way. He's going to smack me with something. He still has 2 jump scares left. So yeah, he even has 2 more block cards. I always forget that card can be used on defense. And yeah, I kind of have to play this card here because I don't have any other options. And it's a jump scare, so I will take 4 and he will take 2. Oh boy. And now I think I have, 3 block cards left, because the remaining 11 cards I have in my hand and deck, I have 3 double attacks, all 4 archer cards, a shift, 2 shield formations, and my last archer revive. So that's just 3 cards. And he is at 3 cards himself, which means he's going to get a nice third action turn if I don't stop him, which I think I don't see right away, which is not good. I think I maneuver instantly just for a block card without thinking of the implications, because now when I'm moving away, I look at his hand and I'm like, oh crap, I have to do something, because if he hits me with something big, that's not going to be good. So I meekly throw out a double attack as my second action, when I think I probably should have just double attacked him twice and hoped that he couldn't block all of it. Although I would have needed 2 of those to land to actually kill him, and he has 3 cards in hand. Probably, yeah, he would definitely be able to block most of the 4 attacks coming at him, if not all of them, due to the just sheer amount of block cards in his hand. So I double attacking him with 2 double attacks probably isn't the winning play, but I don't think there are many winning plays for me at this point. So there's still 2 evades. I'm sure he has something something to use. He has 3 cards that would draw him a card. He has 2 evades left and broken glass. He has 8 in deck, 3 in hand, so What are the odds there? He's thinking about this really hard. And he does. He has the broken glass. So I will take 2 damage, and he will draw a card. I'm assuming because he's going to keep the value the same. And then he's getting attacked with a face-up 3. At least he has no more broken glasses left, so I don't have to worry about that auto damage. Broken glass is such a good card, guys. And I think if he had an evade or something, which looks like the card he just top-decked. Yep, he top-decked an evade. So he gets to draw another card and then have 3 actions, which he had 8 cards when he did that, so there was 2 evades left, a 25% chance of him top-decking that. Yeah, I guess you can't really be salty with those odds, but... So now he has 3 actions. Oh boy. He's going to maneuver on his turn, or on his first action of 3. And because I don't have any more stallion charges or skirmishes, he can safely attack me with his second action if he wants to, which would actually be a pretty good combo if he went down here, attacked me with a jump scare, and then threw out the speak 3 times, which is the last third action card he has. But instead he moves right there, which means he's in the same zone as he started, because he started in the second player spot. So jump scare can't trigger right now. So what is he going to attack me with? Either a speak 3 times that doesn't trigger, a jump scare that doesn't trigger, trick of the light, or infinity mirror. And he's maneuvering again. So this is his third action. It could be a speak 3 times, which would be lethal on me. Actually, regardless of what I could play, because I have 2 shield formations and momentous, but the fact that he isn't instantly playing it is telling me that he probably doesn't have it. A lot of things kill me here. Well, I guess one thing. Jump scare deals 3 damage. That's bad. So this is an instance where I'm gleaming a little bit of information off of the fact that he's actually thinking about it. The fact that he has a choice means that, or I should say the fact that there is not a clear answer means he has a choice, which means I think I get to live another turn. Let's skip until we see what he attacks me with. And obviously, regardless of what he does, I think I have to play the shield formation, which is unfortunate because that'll put him at 3 cards again. And that means I'll probably have to play my double attack on him at some point. Yeah, so I just, without hesitation, play the shield formation. It is not the speak 3 times. It is the infinity mirror, which is actually, I think, the worst case scenario for me because now he will discard down to 3 and move away after combat, or move me after combat, so that I can't easily attack him on my turn. He's going to discard a Trick of the Light. Yep, he's been saving those for a rainy day, so I will not get my archer back. And I take 1 damage, and that I think will be the game because Jump Scare and his third action attack will hit over anything I can block with, assuming he discards for the shield formation, which why would he not if it ends the game? And he gets to move with Infinity Mirror, so he's going to yeet himself over there, which is surprising because now I can just boost in and attack him, except I did not draw a block card. I had 2 of them in 6, so that's a 33% chance, and of course I don't win that. So I'm just going to move in and attack him, and I basically had given up at that point because there really wasn't a way for me to win unless I could land some undefended hits on him, which he's going to play an evade and just take the 3 so that he gets the third action. And now on his turn, sorry, I was speeding that up just because of the futile nature of this. Now on his turn, he has guaranteed lethal on me because he can maneuver twice, and have one card left in deck, which guarantees he either has the last jump scare or the last speak 3 times. So he just needs to do that and then attack me, and he wins regardless of what I have in my hand. I'm gonna block with a Pin the Prey. Ha ha ha, funny me. Actually, interesting that he just chose to attack me first action there. Let's see what he had in his hand, if he's gonna show us. There's the shield formation, there's the surprise volley, there's the Pin the Prey. Oh, so he had the third action attack in his hand. Okay, so he had lethal anyways. So yeah, that sucks when 2 of my Archer Revive cards are in the bottom bottom 5 cards, along with the double attack being at the bottom. So that was an example of why Bloody Mary is good into Yanenga. And obviously we pointed out some bits and pieces of why I didn't really play that to the best of my ability, but it looked close, but it really didn't feel that close, especially if you were just watching that. He took 3 at the end that he, I guess, kind of like really didn't need to. He just wanted to guarantee the third action. So really he was at like 5 health, and I was run out of the black cards, and I did not get a single Archer Revive off that entire game, because he discarded for this shield formation, fainted 1, and 1 got yeeted with Stolen Memory. So yeah, those one with the lands were a godsend to have early in the game. So now I am still forced to play Yanenga because I did not get a win with her, and I will be playing Squatch's Medusa on a map of my choice. Let's get into that after a seamless transition. So we are back in game 3, and I am just realizing I have been purple this entire match instead of matching colors, which I apologize for. All hail the mighty Cactus Cup. I should have been indigo blue the last couple of games since I was Yanenga, and we're getting a kind of late look at the mulligan because I forgot to hit record soon enough. But actually I'm skipping ahead of myself because we are playing on Marmorial. This is the map of my choice that I guess is ranged favored for both of us because both of our heroes are ranged, but there's a lot of tri-zone spaces to potentially get a Jaws off, and a lot of bi-zone spaces on that point as well. And I'm choosing to go first simply because Stallion Charge exists and Medusa has 1 health sidekicks. So riddle me this: what are the odds of drawing 1 of those copies in my starting hand? I'm drinking in the video, so let's drink in real life. Hydrate, homies. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but with 3 copies in it, having 1 in my opening hand doesn't seem too far off. And as you can see, I do not have 1 in my opening hand, so I am going to instantly mulligan that. Basically, I'm just hard mulliganing for Stallion Charge, and I think like my win percentage in this matchup goes up like 15% if I play Stallion Charge on turn 1 and kill multiple harpies. Behold the might of the Cactus Cup. So Squatch is going to mulligan, which gives me hope as well, because if he kept, that probably meant he had like a Clutching Claws or something in his opening hand, which we wouldn't necessarily want to deal with right off the bat. So I don't have any cancels. So what are the keys for me in this matchup? Well, I'm going to have to discard 6 cards if all 3 Hiss and Slithers and all 3 Clutching Claws get played, which probably means I want to save my like Archer cards for that and just have like 2 more throwaway cards. And I need to really avoid taking a lot of damage from a boosted second shot with Gaze of Stone, because that'll deal 4 damage, which could hurt over my archers. But I also don't want to get run out of defenses like I did in the last game and be forced to end the game on an undefended Gaze. So as you can see, I did not draw Stallion Charge because why would I?
Okay.
I'm actually lucky enough that, if I had it, I could move Yanenga here, attack this harpy, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, no, that math doesn't work out anymore. Never mind. Okay, yeah, of course I wouldn't draw it there, but his harpies are positioned in a way that I could potentially hit 1 or 2 with the Stallion. especially if the first one doesn't die because they have a clutching clause or something like that. So me not getting Stallion Charge there kind of hurt, but the game is not lost simply because my opening hand did not have the specific card that I wanted in it. I do have a Pin the Prey, which means if I attack a Harpy turn 1 and they have Clutching Claws, I have a discard fodder into that. But I don't necessarily really have the best attacks into the Harpies because I'm not going to use Surprise Volley without an Archer to revive, and the double attacks are not really worth using on the Harpies because just like Medusa is trying to whittle away at my defenses, I am trying to whittle away at her defenses. And the double attacks are a great way to do that, especially if unfeinted. And Jaws is a really good black card, so I think I want to be aggressive here. I want to try to take out a Harpy. So I think moving in and attacking with point blank might be my best play, simply because I can't afford to be passive here, because then if I just like run away into this top left corner with 7 cards, Medusa could just sit back and draw up to 7, and now I'm forced in to boost in and hit her. And especially with the discards, that's very costly. So I'm going to align my archers up behind me so that they are protected from the Harpies. If Medusa wants to attack this archer, she can move into one of these spaces, then hit them. Or did I call this an Archie or a Harpy? It's an archer. So I'm attacking with point blank. What is this bad into? This is bad into Feint, which he might play if he thinks it's a Stallion Charge, although me hesitating there probably shows that it's not a Stallion Charge. It's bad into Dash. It's bad into Hounds of Mighty Zeus, so that's what, like 8 cards that this is bad into, which isn't the best play, but the alternative was attacking with Pin the Prey, and then I don't kill the Harpy for sure, and I have to discard a card that isn't Pin the Prey, which means probably point blank is getting pitched, which I don't know which of those is best. Man, I'm just a stone face right now. You can tell how unhappy I am with the results of that mulligan. I just took a sip of water unprompted. Hydrate, homies. He's going to block, not a good sign, with a dash, which means he is the defender, so he gets to resolve his combat effect first. And he gets to slip away, as one might say. And now my after combat effect does not trigger because the opposing fighter was not adjacent. Not a good start to the game for me. And like I said, this matchup can go either way. And killing the Harpies in one fell swoop with a nice timed Stallion Charge it's not the recipe for success, let me tell you that. He can't ping me because I'm not in the brown or purple zones, and okay, this is violet and this is grape jelly. We're gonna codify this language for this this game. He cannot ping anyone because I am not in the brown or violet zones. He's going to start with a maneuver. He's going to move the Harpy in, probably to attack the archer. What's he going to do with the other ones? What's he going to do with Medusa? Medusa's moving into the purple. She's going to move one more into the purple and blue. That would cover like half of the map with her ability, but no, she's just staying in purple, which is actually like the best anti-range zone on this map because it forces you to be adjacent to either of these fighters in this little pocket and actually hit them. Not sure why Medusa wants to chill in that because that limits her ping options, and lining up her Harpies like that is not a good idea, especially when Stallion Charge exists. Although I suppose since I didn't play it on my first turn, he might think that I don't have it, but this is actually, I think, not great positioning on his part because I can move in and go 1-2, attack this Harpy, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I wouldn't even end in Medusa's zone, and I would kill a Harpy and Medusa. So I don't defend the archer there. It's a clutching clause, so I will discard the Pin the Prey, and the archer goes to his fiery death. I'm not really that happy to see one of them go that early, but I I mean, like, if I blocked with Pin the Prey there, he still dies, and then I have to discard a card, and it's actually a good card, which I guess is the problem with either not having feints or not killing all the harpies in your first turn. I drew a 1 with the land, which is nice if I had both of my archers left alive. Oh boy, I think I'm unintentionally sounding really salty this game, and I apologize for that. My bias of wanting to stomp some ugly Owen Wilson looking harpies with Stallion Charge turn 1 was not fulfilled. So I'm going to move the archer and then attack the harpy so that the archer is still in Yanenga's zone, and I'm like ploying as if it's momentous shift, which anything the harpy blocks with, it will die, except I'm using surprise volley. So I don't think my opponent wants to waste a feint on like an archer attack. So I'm hoping he just lets it go because it's going to die if it's a shift, and he does let it go, and it's a surprise volley, which I'm so happy wasn't feinted, unlike the last game. And I get my archer right back and the harpy dies. So kind of interesting turn of events there. The harpy attacks the archer. Archer dies. His archer brethren attacks the harpy back, kills the harpy, and summons his brother. So I guess the real victim of that was the Pin the Prey that I discarded from the Clutching Claws. So that was a good turn of events here. I guess I'm keeping account of the harpy totals. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 harpies left because he has 2 winged frenzies in his deck. So I just need to basically just get 2 stallion charges on, and that'll be good. I really want to keep my... Ooh, I'm drinking in the video, so I'll drink in real life. I really want to keep my hand count lower than Medusa's because I want Medusa to have to come to me so that I can attack her on my turn and then get out of her zone so that I minimize the amount of ping damage I take this game. So her kind of taking a defensive stance at the beginning and just chilling in this purple zone is actually really good for me because it means I'm less afraid of venturing out into the board. Her being moved 3 is a bit of an advantage against me being moved 2 because especially if she's in the middle of the board, she can threaten to hit a lot of spaces with her range and or ability. But me kind of chilling in this kind of segregated pinkish zone off to the side here, out of her reach, at least at the beginning of the game, I'm kind of using that to my advantage. I'm drinking in the video, so I'll drink in real life. So we see she's spreading out her harpies, which is good, and putting Medusa into this tri-zone space to command a lot of the board. And I think the harpy will attack me, and I don't want to use a Jaws of the Beast on the harpy, especially if it's a second Clutching Claws. So I think if I get attacked, I will just take it here, but it looks like he's going to maneuver. He's hovering his mouse over his deck. Now he's hovering over a card. He's just going to maneuver again, which is, you honestly love to see it because now he's at 6. If I double maneuver, I'll be at 6, and then he'll be forced to either maneuver attack or maneuver pass, and he does have 4 passes in his deck. But if I maneuver attack, I'll be at 5, which would give me a future turn of double maneuvering. But the problem is I want to have probably a bad card in my hand so that if I run into a Hiss or Slither or another Clutching Claws, I have something to ditch that isn't good. Point Blank, not super great in this matchup since Medusa has a couple of after combat move effects on Dash or Hounds of the Mighty Zeus, and Medusa being ranged, probably not going to deal 2 damage to her, although it is a good card for killing harpies if they attack me, but it's probably fine to discard 1 or 2 of them in this matchup, especially with 6 total discards from Medusa. I anticipate this game going to exhaustion, so I'm expecting to see all 6 of them unless I can kill all of the harpies. before that can happen, although later in the game she can just winged frenzy and then attack with the harpy to guarantee that the clutching claw goes through. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of those. I forget what exactly we're talking about here, but we're having a good time. I'm going to skip ahead until I actually do something. I maneuvered, can't forget that, so I will be moving all my guys. I maneuver again without moving. So I think I'm just going to sit right here and make my opponent come to me because I'm, I guess, fine with my positioning. It'll be his turn. He has nothing to ping since I'm in neither the green, blue, or brown zones. Seeing a shield formation is nice because now that means I can soak a hit as Yananga, kill off an archer completely, and then I have a clutching claws of my own, essentially.
Well, so when they handed out the Volume 2 releases...
Oh man, that's a lovely conversation we're having. I'm sure my YouTube viewers want to listen to this, so we're just going to skip ahead until my opponent actually does something. That's why our match was 4.5 hours long. We had a lot of nice chit chat. He's just going to double maneuver, or did he start with 6 cards? I think he started with 6 cards for something I pointed out. So he's going to maneuver once on his turn so far. Probably going to move in and attack, I'd assume, with a harpy. Based on this position, if he doesn't move in position to attack, we can assume he's probably going to play a winged frenzy. Not good if he got it that early. But what am I trying to do here with the cards in my hand? Probably draw 1 or 2 more defenses and probably kill the harpies with cards like Momentous Shift and things like that. Stallion Charge. I kind of want to save my Rain of Arrows for Medusa. The harpy is attacking. I will take it, so I will deal 1 to all of my dudes. Perfect with 1 with the land, and I can discard Point Blank, which is currently the worst card in my hand. I guess it's good seeing 2 of those out of the way early, although we're going to want to draw another Archer card for the 3rd, I think. Yep, we're going to first action play 1 with the land, get maximum value out of that. A nice 3-point heal. Feels really good when you get that. I think I tend to play Yananga a little bit more aggressively. I guess that it doesn't really look like that in the last matchup just because Bloody Mary is so favored that you just have to play defensively by nature. But when I'm playing Yananga aggressively, I don't think I get the 3-point heal as often as I would like. But in these last 2 matchups, getting it off just feels really good. So I move them all up and out, and I drew a card, which was Momentous Shift, and there's the Stallion Charge. So it was the 10th card in the deck, or card number 20, whichever way you want to look at it. Which means I want to move Yananga into a position to use that card, maybe on defense if I need to. But I want to keep my archers in the same zone as me so that I can make them soak damage for me, which I think is going to be the key to this matchup, is not dying. And I do that by keeping my health. But instead, I will keep the archers where they are. I will make it hard for Medusa to attack me. She's going to have to move her harpies in if she wants to get me. And I guess I only have this one archer in my zone because this guy is in the completely white zone. You want to be player 3, which is the joke that I made to my opponent during the game. Ha ha ha, so clever. So clever am I. My opponent has nothing to ping. Good job on my part. Probably going to open up with a maneuver here. He does. He draws a card. Let's skip ahead. So I want him to attack me with the harpies again, so that I can play Stallion Charge and hopefully hit both of them. That would be like the perfect thing for me right now. I would be in a really good spot after that happened. You could also move Medusa 2 spaces like that to attack me while not being adjacent to me for the third point blank. And if Medusa attacks me here, I don't think I could hit both Harpies with a Stallion Charge, but I could hit Medusa and this Harpy with a Stallion Charge. So is that what I want to do? That would kind of separate me from the archers, though. Divide and Conquer does exist, though. Don't forget about that card. Best card in the deck. That's why it has the lowest boost value. Okay, so he's attacking me. I think Stallion Charge is the move here, because I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my internet blipped. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. Medusa's attacking me. What could she be attacking me with? Snipe, regroup, feint, maybe. Dash, second shot, Gaze of Stone. Probably not Gaze of Stone this early in the game, and I'm honestly fine if she attacks with, I guess, any versatile card that's not our regroup, because those are cards that she'll have to use to block with later in the game, and the sooner those get out, the sooner I can land big jaws or big shifts or rain of arrows. Lock the board, don't forget about that.
This was the attack that I...
Okay.
Yeah.
So jaws would be a 4 here. Shield formation would be blank 3, and so would momentous shift. So I think Stallion Charge is the best
Second action.
block in this case, especially because it's Medusa's second action, and she won't be able to do anything after this.
All right.
Okay.
So she played a dash, but as the defender, my effect resolves first, even though the combat timings are tied. They're both after combat. So I want to go deal some damage to some people. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will end right next to Medusa, and the Harpy will die and she will take a damage. The reason why I'm ending next to Medusa is because she has a dash effect, so she can move 3 spaces after I move my 5, and if I ended in this brown zone, she could go 3 spaces up here and like cut me off from the archers, which I don't want to do. So I'm kind of forming a roadblock between Medusa and the archers so that Medusa can retreat over here, and I kind of am still connected to my archer network, I guess. I like to think of the archers as a train for Yanega. And Yanega is the conductor, and you don't want to get separated from your passengers. So it's my turn. I can afford to double maneuver and not attack if I wanted to, but I do have shifts, which are guaranteed Harpy killers, as I pointed out before. There is nothing they can block with that will keep them alive from a 5 value shift. The problem is if the third claw comes up, what am I going to discard? And the answer to that is probably the second shift that I have in my hand, which is a little unfortunate. But what are the chances that Squatch drew all 3 claws in the first 10 cards of his deck? Hopefully not very high. The other problem is, because this Harpy is in a green or blue zone, if I go to attack, I would have to be in the green or blue zone, and Medusa is in the blue or green zone, blue and green zones, which means the attacking fighter will take a ping damage from Medusa. So we're going to go with the archer throwing out a shift again, and hopefully he plays like a snipe or a dash or something like that. Even a feint, I'd be really happy with a feint, actually. Or a hounds, I guess. We don't want to see a clutching claws. That's the caveat, I guess. And ideally, he would block. And my opponent has decided not to block, which is the right decision in hindsight. So the Harpy is dead. It would have died anyway. And now they are temporarily extinct. There are still 2 winged frenzies to bring 2 of them back, but that makes my job just a little bit easier for the time being. So step 1 of this matchup for me is kill all the harpies, kill the sidekicks, so that Medusa is more exposed and there are potentially less discards or big attacks in the turn in terms of Hounds of Mighty Zeus. And we got rid of 3 of the harpies, only saw 2 Clutching Claws, which I guess is actually very lucky for the first 10 cards of his deck. So now the whole goal of the game is to whittle Medusa out of blocks and just kill her with hopefully some undefended attacks. Seeing 2 dashes out of the way early. I'm drinking in the video, so I'm drinking in real life. Hydrate, homies. Seeing dashes early is really good because dash is one of the combo breakers that Medusa has available to her. All hail the might of the Cactus Cup. Dash and Feint effectively can stop Yanenga's combo turns because dash will move Medusa out of Yanenga's zone so that Yanenga can't keep attacking her, and Feint, of course, cancels things like double attacks and surprise volleys. So that's a very handy card to have, but dash is an important one on defense for Medusa because it restricts how many times I can attack her if she gets out of my zone. Interesting thing to note, this archer was in the green zone. Medusa forgot to ping it at the start of her turn, which I'm not going to remind my opponent about. This is a high stakes game. It's very close, so you gotta take every advantage you can get, and it's optional, which means it's also forgettable. There's a Winged Frenzy, which is not good. So there were no harpies on the board for exactly 1 action of my opponent's turn, which is unfortunate. I think my opponent is just confirming his movement. He can move into the white zone and then spawn a harpy in the white zone, which effectively pins my archer, which hate to say it, archer, but you're dead. You just don't know it yet. I will move my archer into support, and I think I can play. This is the tricky problem. So if I attack that harpy with a shift, will he have the 3rd Clutching Claws? And I think I was so scared of having to discard like Master of the Hunt that I double maneuver here instead of just killing the harpy instantly. I think killing the harpy would be better in retrospect, especially since I'm moving Yanenga into position for the harpy to attack next turn, which I don't really know why I'm doing that. So I think shifting that harpy would have been probably the best play here. So Medusa is going to ping the archer. If she attacks the archer, I am not going to defend. Although she might know that she doesn't have to necessarily attack the archer if she wants it to die. Although she'd have to keep the pin, and if she wanted to move the other harpy to attack Yanenga, let's say, the archer could potentially escape on my turn. Although I'd either have to kill the harpy so that the archer could move down into the middle of the map, or boost so he could escape left down towards this side of the map, although that is assuming this harpy moves. So he is at 6 cards though, so if he maneuvers twice, he'd have to discard because of overdraw. I think the best case scenario for him here would be maneuver and then Winged Frenzy, stay in place and like spawn the other harpy over here so that he'd be at 7 cards and I would be forced to engage him. But right now, unless he has that card or a Momentary Glance, he's going to be the one having to aggress me, which I guess I'm fine with. Don't really like my block options right now because if Yanenga gets attacked, I can either take it because I have the archer in my zone and some Archer Revive cards. I can block with a blank 3 with Momentous, or probably a 4 or a 5 with Jaws, which if the Harpy attacks me, I'm probably either going to shift or just take it. But if Medusa attacks me, still not entirely certain. So it looks like Medusa is going to move the Harpy to attack Yanenga and keep Medusa there in place to kill that archer, probably. Oh, no. Second thoughts. Medusa is going to go into the blue, which does threaten a large portion of the map with her ability. We're just going to skip until a final decision is made. Nope, she's going back in. Hokey pokey. The archer, or the Harpy, is actually moving 1, 2, 3 and going to attack the archer instead.
And I will now. Sorry for taking so long.
No, it's okay.
So what could this be? This could be a regroup, clutching claws, dash, snipe, feint, hounds. So the only thing I can block with here is a shift. I think the best course of action is actually just taking this, especially since I have 2 Archer Revive cards in my hand. But I choose to block with it. Not entirely sure why, and it's a regroup. So I just got pretty owned there, I will admit. I kept the Archer alive, but like, for what? And he only draws 1 card from that instead of 2. This game goes to fatigue. That's just how this matchup works, especially if both players play like relatively conservatively, playing like the long game of like how many defenses does my opponent have left. And if I was able to get my opponent to draw 2 cards with a regroup, that would put me ahead in exhaustion by actually a surprising amount, even though I'm currently at 15 cards and my opponent is at 17. I drew an Archer card, Divide and Conquer, so that if I'm forced to discard a card, that will be the card I discard. And I can actually move this Archer out of Medusa's zone so that it won't die to the inevitable ping. And then I'm thinking about what else I want to do on my turn. Do I want to move Yanenga in and attack Medusa? Do I want to kill this Harpy? What cards do I have in my hand that, like, what am I trying to do here? If I go and attack Medusa, I have a Divide and Conquer for probably one of the Hiss and Slithers that she has in her hand by now. But if I play a double attack, are there going to be 2 Hiss and Slithers? What am I going to discard on the second one? I think that is probably the best time for Medusa to Hiss and Slither, is hopefully she lines up 1 with a double attack and then she can block the second attack with another Hiss and Slither and really punish Yanenga, especially if she's playing at a low hand count. Yanenga, that is. I do have Master of the Hunt. I could do some shenanigans, but I have already maneuvered on my turn, so yep, you can see me flailing Yanenga around because I'm not entirely sure what to do here. I think my best hope is probably either Divide and Conquer the Harpy or just attack Medusa with the double attack. Not entirely sure. Let's skip ahead until I make a decision. So I am going to move Medusa into attack position. Not Medusa, Yanenga. Ooh, and the first Master of the Hunt comes out. So I am effectively on my first action because I have 2 actions left with the Master of the Hunt. And we're throwing out the double attack. So Medusa has Snipe, Dash, Feint, Regroup, Hiss, and Slither. I think those are all the options. And she's already used 2 dashes. So what's my plan of attack here? Probably this rain of arrows, and I'm going to follow it up with either the second rain of arrows or just another maneuver, depending on how she responds to the attack right now. She's going to, ooh, hokey pokey, put it in, put it out, shake it all about.
Yeah, I'll block.
So she's going to block with a hiss and slither. Okay. We were prepared for that. We had to divide and conquer. Not sure what we're going to do if she plays another one, but let's see how she responds to the face-up volley in front of her. She's getting attacked for 3. I think like snipe or regroup would be good options here. If she wants to save another hiss for maybe when a jaws would be a 5 or a 6 attack. Or a shift even. Because she knows it's a 3, she can safely block with a 3 and not risk taking extra damage. So she's going to fully block the second one with a snipe. And because she drew an extra card from the snipe and I'm down a card from the hiss and slither, I think the best thing for me to do is just maneuver away and avoid the ping damage, especially since Medusa has hand advantage right now and will continue to have hand advantage even if I maneuver. If I double attack her again and she plays another hiss and slither, I am in a rough spot.
I will maneuver.
So I draw a stallion charge, which will be very, very handy for taking care of some pesky harpies.
Okay. Your turn.
Think I probably should have moved my archers there. I didn't. I just moved Yanenga and I moved into a position where the harpy could attack me first action, which I guess I'm baiting the stallion charge, as in like I'm baiting an attack so that I can play stallion charge. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can't even hit both Medusa and the harpy with that. I think that was just like a really rushed play. I should have moved the archers like back probably and put Yanenga there in a more centralized position. But Medusa can't ping anything because no one else is in the white, and she's going to maneuver first on her turn. So she can attack all 3 of my fighters from that tri-zone space. Glance would also be good here to take out this 2 health archer. But now if she attacks me, charge looks a little bit more enticing. Nope, she's going to hokey pokey, go back, go the other way, play around jaws. I'm drinking in the video, so I'll drink in real life. Hydrate, homies. My water bottle is almost empty, but I'm too lazy to go get up and refill it. So we're going all the way down to the purple zone, playing a little bit defensively. Interesting, because while she has hand advantage, she'll be forced to come to me. So like I am in no position to, or I am not forced to have to engage her on my turn and move into this spot and risk 8 ping damage. I think the harpy is going to attack me. So in this case, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could actually hit both of them with stallion charge. But if it's a clutching claws, what am I going to discard? Probably the surprise volley. Although it could be a hounds.
Okay.
I take it. Okay, so that was really interesting. So I'm taking a face-up 4. I have 3 health and archers to distribute. I guess I took that because if it was a clutching claws, I'm not sure what I would have discarded, and I guess I wanted the most options available.
Okay.
So I'm going to kill the 2 health archer and have Yanenga take 1,
I'll just kill the archer too.
2. Okay, so the 3 health of my archers was soaked up. I am without
And then I will move the harpy.
without any sidekicks right now, which is a little scary, especially since they're my like extra health pool. And the harpy gets to move 3 spaces with the after combat effect from Hounds of the Mighty Zeus. Let's skip ahead until a decision is made. Okay, that was quick. He's gonna move the harpy 1, 2, 3 into this brown zone.
Okay.
So I can safely double maneuver here on my turn. Probably want to draw another discard fodder card if available. I don't have to go engage Medusa right now. I don't want to, since I would be forced to take a ping damage if I did. I guess I'm calculating the distance here for Stallion Charge. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apart, so I can't hit both of them with a Stallion Charge, which is good on my opponent for playing around that. I want to be as close to Medusa as possible. I think a better play might... Ooh, so Pin the Prey is good, because now I have something to discard if a Hiss and Slither comes up. A better play would have been to move here, so that if Medusa wanted to attack me, she would basically have to be in a buy or try zone space. Since this is the only mono blue space on the board, she could go there and attack me, in which case I could play a Jaws defensively for 6 or a Jaws offensively for 6. And I think Jaws on offense is what I'm wanting to lean towards in this match, because that will be at least 2 damage over, or it will be 2 damage over a Hiss if it's a 6 value Jaws. It's 1 damage over a feint, and if a Jaws gets feinted, it means a Archer Revive or a double attack didn't get feinted, which is good. Yeah, so the reason why I should have gone there instead of there, I guess this position puts me more in the center, gives me a little bit more flexibility to chase down this Harpy, but it leaves this space open so that Medusa can maneuver in, and now she's only in a 4 value Jaws spot, which isn't good for me. We'll see how this plays out from this interaction. Because she's probably going to attack me here. I could play Stallion and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and kill the Harpy. I could Stallion through Medusa even, but not both. And I think I probably want to chase down this Harpy so that there's only 1 left with Wing Frenzy and only 1 Clutching Claws and 1 Hounds left, which puts Medusa on a little bit of a tighter clock to play both of those cards. So I will play the shield formation actually, because I forgot I don't have any archers around, so basically getting a Clutching Claws of my own forces her to discard a card, and she played Regroup, which actually looks really good on the surface, because this probably would have been the best option to discard if she didn't play it. So now she might be in a little bit of a tighter situation if she doesn't have another like chump card to discard. And if she played a second shot intending to boost it with Gaze of Stone, she'd have to discard. Otherwise, the value of this card would essentially be 5, because I could pump 2 of the damage into the Archer. So she actually had the 3rd regroup in her hand, which works out very nice for her. So now all 3 regroups have been played by her. She doesn't really have any more bait attacks. And I don't get an Archer, but she does get to draw a card. So now it is my turn. I probably want to attack her on my turn and then go 1, 2 and avoid any ping damage. But what do I want to attack with? Surprise Volley would be a good option to get an Archer back. That's always helpful. That would also let me actually play Pin the Prey if I wanted to. So far in terms of blocks, Medusa has played all 3 regroups, which don't really count as a block, I guess. 2 dashes, a snipe, and a Hiss and Slither. So that is 8 cards out of, I think, like a potential 15. So we're getting there, because she just has 3 feints left, 2 hisses, a dash, and 2 snipes, which is 8 cards. So somewhere my math is wrong. Oh boy, it's hard to do on the fly. Oh, she's only played 7 defense cards, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, counting is hard. So I'm going to open up on her with a double attack. I guess because Hiss and Slither isn't really so scary when I have a crap Archer card in my hand. Although we haven't seen any feints, so she's probably holding on to 1. So I guess it's just time to get rid of those. Behold the might of the Cactus Cup. You know how sometimes when you're playing, you just kind of like enter like a flow state and you don't really like you don't really think about what you're doing, you just do it. I feel like that's how I feel just like talking to myself, to my computer, watching this game for like the last half hour. It's about 4 a.m. when I'm recording this right now, so there's just a lot of fatigue setting in physically on me. This is good practice for actual tournament commentary. So I've entered that flow state. I just like awoke and I was like, wow, I've been talking for a while and I haven't even like realized it. I've just kind of gone on autopilot, and that's both cool and terrifying. So the third dash is played, which is actually really good for me to see, because now there's no more, I guess, combo breaker. Medusa will break this combo and then probably no more. So the 3 damage from Rain of Arrows is blocked, and now she's getting attacked with a face-up 3, which her only options are she could feint it, which you don't want to feint the second attack of a double attack. She could play a Hiss and Slither, which I guess would be fine, or she could play a Snipe. I think Snipe would probably be the best thing for her here, but we'll see. And you can see her, Medusa moved 1 space down with the dash. Interesting. I think that is because she wanted to cut off my maneuvering out of her zone. That was actually a very heads-up play by Squatch, because he could see that I wanted to attack her and then move here to avoid the ping. But he moved here to block me off with the dash, which again wouldn't have happened if I maneuvered here instead of here in the first place, because then I could retreat in the white unhindered. And he actually takes the second attack, which signals that he probably doesn't have a Snipe, probably doesn't have a Hiss and Slither in his hand. He might have a feint, because you don't want to play the feint there, I think, just because that's just horrible value on the second of a double attack. So I'm going to attack him again. I'm going to get an archer back, so I have a little bit more health, or depending on if he blocks or not, I could always gain an action, because I love gaining actions with that card. Although that was very greedy of me, I think, because he could have had a feint in his hand, as we just discussed. Because you don't want to feint the volley part of the Rain of Arrows. And so attacking there, I think, is very risky. But sometimes you just gotta play into the risks and hope they pay off. So I have to discard a card here, which is going to be the Pin the Prey, but immediately I'm thinking about whether or not I want an archer or an action.
Let's go for the action.
And because I love playing combo characters, I love being a little risky, I'm a gambler, I'm going to go for the action. And I noticed that Medusa moving down to block me moved her onto a buy zone space, which means my Jaws is now a 5, and he just played a Hiss and Slither, which means he can either feint this and take 1, or he can play his third Hiss for 1 again, and everything else, like if it's a Snipe, it'll deal 2 damage. And even if he takes it, that's like the best case scenario for me. That's 5 damage. And because I've knocked, he played Dash and Hiss, I've knocked two cards out of his hand, block cards, I should say, so far this turn. I figure, what's the risk? I still have 2 blockable cards in my hand, so that if he attacks me twice, I can't get gazed on the second one. I definitely would not attack again here if I had, or I wouldn't leave myself in a position to get gazed, I should say, is what I'm saying here. I'm not that risky, but I'm trying to like press my luck, press my advantage, I should say. Just because of the state I've attacked him. This is my 4th attack this turn. I've attacked him with the double attack, which is 2 attacks, and a surprise volley. So he takes the 5, which puts him at 7, which immediately turns the tide of the game. So this turn he took 2 of my 4 attacks, probably because he wasn't expecting me to attack him that much. So he took a total of 8 damage that turn, putting him from 1 point ahead to now 7 points back. And this was a huge turn for me during the game. because now I have a very solid lead, and I just need to kind of just like draw the right cards and just play the game out, and that's my win condition. I don't have like a specific combo or anything. So we're gonna assume he doesn't have any block cards in his hand. He definitely like does not have a feint, because if he did, he would have played it there on probably one of those attacks. So he's gonna ping me at the start of his turn. So if he doesn't have a feint and he doesn't have a defense in his hand, what cards does he have? Probably red cards like Second Shot or Gaze of Stone, which we can anticipate coming out here, especially since I don't have very many cards in my hand. Probably doesn't have a Harpy card, because the Harpy would want to be engaged if he did. So maybe he has some schemes, but if he had Winged Frenzy, he would probably play it. So he probably has like a Gaze or two and a Second Shot maybe. It's kind of difficult to tell. Maybe he has a Glance, but he doesn't necessarily want to use that unless he gets more defenses, because now he's in a little bit of a pickle, because if he just attacks me twice and tries to get a greedy Gaze in, he's not maneuvering for cards, and we can assume that he doesn't have defense in his hand, or at least didn't when he took the 5 value Jaws. So this in retrospect, that actually answers why he took the second attack from the Rain of Arrows, because if he only had the dash and the hiss in his hand, that Rain of Arrows was my first attack of 2. So he, I guess maybe a little greedily moved there with the dash with 1 hiss in his hand to block with, not thinking that I would attack him multiple more times, especially because I already have a Master of the Hunt out. But surprise volley for action, man, that's what makes it surprising. So he's thinking about where to maneuver. He started his turn there. If he wants to attack me, he has to stay in the blue or the green. Okay, so Medusa maneuvered up and is now attacking me. I'm assuming it's a second shot, but the biggest thing I have is a 3, so I'm going to play Stallion Charge here. He actually goes for the Gaze. Very interesting. He probably figured, well, I guess he hoped that I would just take it, thinking it was a bait, or that I didn't even have any blocks in my hand. And the reason why I go for Medusa instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Harpy, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, I can do that, is because of the health disparity. I just want to try to end the game as fast as possible, so any auto damage I can deal to Medusa is good for me. I draw a Master of the Hunt, which might be used here just so I can get more cards in my hand, because now fatigue isn't really like an issue for me because I'm so ahead in health. And even though the deck counts are at currently 11 for me and 12 for my opponent, and he still has 3 passes, I have all the time in the world just because of the health difference. I'm not really worried about emptying my deck first. I just need to try to draw the right hand to end the game, because he has played 2 hisses, 3 dashes, a snipe, and all of his regroups. So the only block cards he has left are 2 snipes, 3 feints, and a hiss, which is 6 cards. So I just need to attack him like 7 more times and then he dies. So I'm just going to stay right here. I'm going to be close to him, especially because I have block cards in hand, so I'm not really afraid of him attacking me, especially because he could only attack me once, because he is a old character with poor action economy, and I am much more efficient than him, which is why I was able to attack him 4 times in 1 turn already. He's going to move the Harpy up, get it more involved, which means my 3rd Stallion Charge is greatly needed. And he's going to run away as Medusa. Probably good, since he has at most like I think 1 block card in his hand. Yeah, because he had 4 when he took the Jaws, maneuvered up to 5, attacked me down to 4, and now I think he's double maneuvering, so he'll go from 4 to 6. So my Master of the Hunt in hand is probably a key part of my imminent final push that I'll make. I think I just need to attack him a bunch in one turn. I think actually, surprisingly, Divide and Conquer is also a necessary part of that combo turn, because I need something to chug into that last hist. So what am I trying to draw? Probably my third Rain and my third Surprise Volley. Stallion Charge would be nice. My other Jaws would be nice. And I guess the auto damage from Point Blank could be useful too, especially because I can just walk right up to Medusa, and the only thing that will get rid of that is a feint. And if that's getting feinted, a Surprise Volley and a Rain of Arrows isn't getting feinted, which I can be happy about. So Medusa's taking a very defensive stance right now, going into that purple zone, which, like I mentioned before, is an anti-range zone for this map, which is funny just because she's a ranged character herself. And I'm perfectly fine with her being defensive because I have the health advantage, so I have all the time in the world, and my opponent has more cards in hand than me, which means he's going to be forced to engage me first because I can double maneuver for the next 2 turns, and he can't unless he has some passes, which of course isn't double maneuvering, but Momentary Glance does force him to end his turn in my zone because I'm not going to engage him, so he'll have to maneuver and then scheme, which will potentially leave him vulnerable to some attacks by me, which I think is how I want that to go.
You started here, right?
So my opponent is still thinking about his maneuvers. So potentially, somewhat surprisingly, he's going to boost with his third Clutching Claws. Not entirely sure why, but he will move many spaces with Medusa, and he'll probably cut off. He probably wants to move that Harpy a little bit more. Maybe cut off that purple zone. And we can tell by his body language right now, especially if he does that he probably does not have any block cards in his hand, which is actually interesting why he's putting the Harpy there and not there, because I can still attack there.
Right, I'll do a maneuver.
If I wanted to boost, I could go there and attack Medusa, which might be a little risky, especially since Hiss is still an option, although like I said, he might not have any blocks in his hand, but both my Jaws and Shift would be a 5, not enough to kill him. So I think I just need to play it safe right now, especially with the health advantage, and just get cards, get the pieces I need to end the game. But I will move in close just so I can threaten like a Stallion Charge or something and just be a little bit closer to the enemy so that I don't have to boost as much to actually hit him. I don't have to worry about discards from the Harpy anymore since that third Clutching Claws is gone, but Hounds of Zeus is still an option. Although the only block options available for the Harpy is Zeus or Snipe or Feint, which I don't think he's going to play Snipe or Feint for the Harpy at this point in the game. Yeah, that last Clutching Claw getting used as a boost is super clutch because I only have one more Archer card left, and there's only one more discard left. So before the Clutching Claws was used to boost, there were 2 discards left, and I only really had like one good candidate for that, and now there's only one left, and I have the candidate, so that's good. He is just maneuvering away, far, far away. He's not in my zone, so he can't glance me, nor can he attack me. He's probably thinking about either maneuvering or playing his second Winged Frenzy at this point. He's going to maneuver. And if I were him, I'd probably move into that pink or yellow zone. Yeah, which is what he's doing now. He's thinking about his positioning a lot. Excuse my yawn. Like I said, it's late for me here. So this is interesting positioning by him, because now I can boost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and hit him. Although that does require me using a boost 3 card, which I probably don't want to use necessarily. But yeah, I can just double maneuver again and force him to make like the first move of this kind of reinforcement period where we're both just double maneuvering and getting more cards. I have all the time in the world. The deck counts are actually I'm at 6 and he's at 8. So I'm in no pressure to end the game, and I'm actually going to move into this space here to, I guess, bait him into going into this tri-zone space so that I can attack him back with a Jaws, especially since I have 2. I'm just fine throwing one out on offense. Although he could come around here, but then he's a little bit closer to me. He's going to start with a maneuver. And I've done a great job of avoiding ping damage this game. I think I've taken it once out of a possible 2 times. He missed the first one on the archer. So this is what I was talking about, where he is now forced to make the first move, because when we ended that scuffle up here, I had 3 cards in hand and he had like 5 or 6. So I just double maneuvered my last 2 turns. I'm kind of just chasing him around a little bit. I was drawing my hand, waiting for the opportunity to strike, and it looks like I have the pieces in place to maybe get something going. He's going to maneuver.
Okay.
And then he's going to play his second Winged Frenzy to... he can actually move all of his fighters 3 spaces through opposing fighters, and then wherever Medusa ends up in that zone somewhere, he gets to bring a Harpy back. So my 3rd Stallion charge is probably a little bit desirable right now, especially if he keeps all his fighters bunched up together. His positioning right now is a little precarious, because if he ends here, he'll be in the green zone, and I can just maneuver and then hit him on my turn, which I think I would really like to do. He started bringing back an archer and realized that was not the right sidekick, but I think he chose this zone so that he could put a Harpy there and potentially stifle me from just moving a step forward. But then he takes it back and chooses to put the Harpy not blocking right there, which I think this is actually the right move in this scenario. Interesting. Nope. He's blocking there. Okay. Okay, so he's moving Medusa's positioning from the Winged Frenzy, which I guess technically you're supposed to place the Harpy when you stop moving, but no new information was gained or anything like that, so it doesn't really bother me that he changed his mind on that. I draw the Point Blank, which could be some critical auto damage, especially on Medusa. But so right now, what do I want to do? I think the best play is not to boost in right next to her necessarily. I could just move here and attack the Harpy, and then on Medusa's turn, she would have to maneuver into the green zone to attack or scheme against me, and that way I could just attack her, starting with as many actions as possible to attack her. I don't have to spend the first one maneuvering. I guess the one punish would be if she played the second Hounds of Mighty Zeus, because I don't think I have something that kills the Harpy again. Oh, no, I do have I have a shift, so I think I move and attack with a shift. I think that's the best option, because she has 7 cards in her hand, and the only passes she has left, she has to be in my zone to use. So I'm trying to force her on her turn to maneuver and then attack or scheme, which will end her turn in my zone, And that way I can play Master of the Hunt and attack her a bunch. Because even if she feints my attacks, at this point she's still taking 1 damage, especially on those 3s. So I just need to attack her enough times to get her health down. So yep, I'm going to move into the green zone. And the shift guarantees a death on the Harpy. Although if the Harpy defends with Hounds, the other Harpy still gets to move from the card effect. And that could potentially, if like the Harpy moved 1, 2, 3, that could mean the Harpy could maneuver and attack Yanenga without having to boost or anything like that from the current state. Although, if this Harpy defends with Hounds, well, it dies, but then this Harpy only has like feint or snipe to attack with, which I'm not scared of. I would actually welcome that, because if this Harpy is attacking with those cards, that means that Medusa isn't defending with them. So I'm actually fine with whatever this Harpy chooses to do here. The shift guarantees a death on it. Okay, so it was a snipe. Interesting to see there. That must mean he's trying to dig through his deck for more options, which is a little scary. He only has 7 cards left in his deck, so his hand must not be very good at all. So now the only cards Medusa has left to defend with is 1 snipe, 1 hiss, and 3 feints. So just 5 cards total.
Your turn.
We both have full hands. I have 5 cards left in deck, and Medusa has 6. I am 5 spaces away from the Harpy. Medusa is 1 space away from my zone, and like I said, the Harpy can only attack with snipe or feint right now, or I guess the second Hounds of Mighty Zeus, which I'm fine with all of those. Actually, if the Harpy attacks me, I probably just defend with point blank and kill it. And if Medusa wants to attack me, she has to move into the green zone, which is either there or there. 1, 2, 3. Actually, if she wanted to avoid Jaws, she could move there, which would be the right move, I think. Yeah, so he's kind of in a tough spot because he has to like interact with me. If he just double maneuvers away, I'll say, hey, that's fine with me, and I'll double maneuver away, and then he'll die first in fatigue. But I guess his hope is to actually like attack me and deal enough damage to me, especially when I don't have archers up. I just took a swig of water in the video, so let's take a swig of water in real life. Let's hydrate, homies. Oh, I'm taking another one. I've drinking so much water today, I don't want to take another sip. So yeah, me getting that 8 health swing that one turn was a big step in the winning direction for me, because now he's kind of forced in between a rock and a hard place, between either dying in fatigue if he runs away and potentially getting comboed to death if he makes the first move, which is why me having a relatively low hand size midway in the game really helped me kind of like swing the momentum in my favor. Not necessarily, let me rephrase that. Me having a low hand count helped me manipulate the initiative of the game, I should say. Because now this is like a crucial turning point that we're facing again, and he has like 2 bad options. Let's skip ahead until he actually does something. Oh, of course, when I say that, he starts moving. So good for him. He noticed to play around the Jaws. I wonder what he'll do with the Harpy. Oh, no. Okay, he's hokey-pokeying again. He's keeping the Harpy right there. Interesting. I guess like it doesn't really have a purpose besides Hounds at this point. And he's just going to glance, which will deal me 2 damage. So this is what I wanted. I am starting my turn in attack range from Medusa. I have Master of the Hunt. I know his block options left. He only has 5 cards. 3 feints, a hiss, and a snipe. So I'm thinking here, looking at the cards in my hand, he's probably going to play a feint if I attack him first, especially given my Archer Revive and double attack that are still left. So I think if I do a cheeky skirmish attack, that could be really punishing if he feints, because he'll take 2 damage over that. I have Divide and Conquer for the hiss, so I'm not worried about that. And if he plays Snipe, I can deal 2 damage over that with the Jaws. And feint, if I attack with the Jaws or the Archer Revive, will deal 1 damage, which I am fine with too. It's just about dealing the little tiny increments. He only has 6 health left. So obviously the punish here is hiss, but at least if he plays that, it's out of the way. It being a punish, because I'm being really greedy with this skirmish attack. And the hiss will block all the damage. Although if I actually win the combat versus like a snipe, or the 1 snipe he has left, I could move him closer to me and then play point blank, which would be really cheeky. Although he would probably feint that if he could. Let's go. Oh, of course, I say let's skip, and then he makes his decision. So he does feint this. This is exactly what I wanted. So he takes 2 damage. I don't get the effect, but 2 damage is 2 damage. So now, that was the first feint. He has 4 blocks left. Do I play Master of the Hunt? Do I do some cheekiness? I think I do. So now I still have 2 actions, because I Master of the Hunted on my second action. So I will attack with Surprise Volley here.
Technically third action, so might be a heal. Might be an ambush.
So he has 2 feints, a snipe, and a hiss. Behold the might of the Cactus Cup. And I'm thinking here, I don't even bother with the archer. I just want the action, because then I can attack him more. He's going to defend with... So he's going to snipe. So he will draw a card, but block all the damage. And I, of course, will go for the action, because I'm a cheeky little comboer. I play Yanenga like Bruce Lee. The right way to play her. So now he has 2 feints and a hiss left on defense, and I still have 2 actions.
That's gonna happen.
I'm actually thinking about it. Wow.
Archer or an action.
Come on, Baked. You know you want that sweet, sweet Jeet Kundo combo. Why are you thinking so much? Just do it.
I think I'll go with an action.
Yep, there you go. I'm going with the action. Interesting. So I only got 1 Archer Revive this game, and it was on my second turn, I think, when I attacked that Harpy.
I attacked, then Master the Hunt, so 2 actions. Then attack.
We're talking about actions. I skirmished, Master of the Hunted, Surprise Volley for actions, so I still have 2 actions left. I'm having a nice 5 action turn. So Jaws here is only a 5, not a 6, so it deals 1 damage over anything he defends with, and if he doesn't defend, then he dies. So he's going to be at 3 after this, most likely. Although if he has, behold the might of the Cactus Cup, if he has another feint, he's probably wary of me throwing another skirmish at him. That was probably a little traumatizing. Let's skip forward until he makes a decision. So either way, I think he blocks if he has a block here. And if he doesn't, oop. But what are the odds? He has 3 blocks. There it is. Okay, so he plays the Hiss and Slither, so he takes 1 damage, and I discard a card, which is why we had Divide and Conquer in our hand. So say, what are the odds? He has 6 in hand, 4 in deck, and 3 block cards total left. But no more hisses, so he just has 2 feints. No more discards. Thank goodness. So now is the tricky part. I have 2 cards in hand, both that I can block with. Do I attack him? Well, no, I definitely don't attack him. I definitely don't go down to 1 card in hand against a character with a 10 damage attack. So I'm going to maneuver, and now the question is, do I go right next to him to threaten point blank, or do I just run away? I think threatening point blank is super greedy, especially when he could just back up a step and then attack me. So initially, I'm like, yeah, I'll just go right there. And then I was like, what would Zero Skater do? What would Josh Tan do? And I'm like, no, I'm going to run away. Yeah, you could see that face. I'm like, well, like that kombucha girl meme. Yeah, I just choose to back up, play it safe, because right now I don't need to take risks at all in order to win. I am thoroughly ahead on health. The deck counts are actually the same, believe it or not, because after I attacked, 3 times that turn and schemed, attacks or passes late in the game, and I wasn't drawing cards. So now when he maneuvers on his turn, he will actually go ahead in deck count for, I think, the first time all game. So now fatigue is really an issue for him, since he only has 1 pass left. But again, momentary glance requires you to interact with your opponent. You basically have to be in their zone, which is really good for me because that means I get free attacks on him. And I just need to attack him twice in order to win. Once with a skirmish and once with jaws, because he only has 2 feints left to defend with. So the skirmish will deal 2 or just kill him if he can't block, and the jaws will deal 1 or kill him if he can't block. But I'm assuming he's going to block, and we're assuming it's going to be with a feint. So let's just skip ahead and see what he does, because he still has a glance. We haven't seen any second shots, and he still has 2 gazes of stone, and he has the Hounds of Mighty Zeus and his feints. So those are his 9 cards. Glance, Zeus, stone, gaze, stone, gaze, second shot, second shot, second shot, feint, feint. That's 9. I was counting on my fingies, although you couldn't see them. Okay, let's skip a little faster. Look at my eyes move. I'm in case you're wondering what I'm looking at, I was writing down the deck counts, or the cards that we both had in our decks. I was tracking them, deck tracking. That's what I meant to say. And so when you see me looking over here in the video, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at all the cards, and I just quickly wrote down what we each had left in our deck, and so I could just cross it out and very clearly see everything. Because I keep a checklist normally, but I was like, yeah, screw the checklist. Let's just be specific. My laptop fan does not like 5 times speed. My opponent, kind of unsure of what to do here. I'm not really sure if he has a win condition. It probably involves attacking me a lot with gaze, landing gaze. Second shot is what I meant to say. But the problem is I can afford to run away at this point. Oh my god, the screen recording is lagging like there's no tomorrow. So my opponent is playing very defensively here. He's just, oh, okay. There's, that's a momentary glance. Which I guess I'm fine with because I can just run out the clock and have him die in exhaustion. So he's currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away, which is a boost value of 3, which I don't know if I necessarily want to give that up right now. And now he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. So I cannot reach him if he's 6 away, and so I can't reach him this turn, which is I guess good positioning by him. Maybe his 2 feints are the bottom cards, which would be really unfortunate. So I actually drew one with the land here. and I think I should actually play it before it loses me a health when my deck is empty. And because he's running away, his hand is full, his deck is emptier than mine, I can just run away too, and I can sit in this anti-range zone and force him to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and if he wants to hit me. So if he wants to play the runaway game, I am perfectly fine reciprocating. And now I'll actually heal and go back up to 12. Nice.
Recover a health. Draw a card.
And I'll draw a card, which is Stallion Charge. Perfect. So it was the 10th card in my deck, the 27th card in my deck, and the second copy was somewhere in between. I wasn't keeping track. My opponent can't ping me, so he'll maneuver. Let's just skip forward and see what he does. So he's going to maneuver, and if he actually wants to hit me, which he should, he has to boost in order to reach me. Behold the mighty Cactus Cup. I think I just finished it, which is why I put it above my head on my desk. Yeah, he's boosting with a Hounds, so he can move 6 spaces, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so he can reach me with Medusa and the Harpy, I guess. Although, one thing to note, which is really helpful, is that I am on a space with 3 connections, so he can't actually pin me. If I had ended here, he could move the Harpy around and then like pin me in so that I couldn't move, which wouldn't necessarily really be a big deal because I do have point blank, and I guess I have Stallion Charge, although I can't attack with that because he still has feints. So yeah, he will actually maneuver again and go right next to me, which is very surprising. So he will overdraw. He's going to discard a second shot. Very surprising. So on my turn, I can just maneuver away from him, and now he's essentially checkmated if he wasn't before, because now he has to maneuver, which deals Medusa 2 damage. The Harpy dies, and he has to boost if he wants to hit me, which doesn't really matter. He boosted with his other momentary glance, and then he's going to attack me with a second shot, boosted, so I take, yeah, okay, so the game's over. Basically, he attacked me for 7, I blocked for 4, so I took 3, and then I could just attack him back on my turn, and he takes 1, and that's lethal. So overall, this was a really fun, really close game. It really came down to like 2 or 3 turns that kind of sealed it. Both the combo turns, if you will, of me using surprise volley for actions was really instrumental. And overall, this was a really fun match. Diddly Squatch, or just Squatch, was a really good opponent. And I look forward to following him in the tournament and seeing how he does. So that's going to be it for this video. It is now 5:30 in the morning. Why do I do this to myself? You know what, let's say hi to the sun together. If you've made it this far, why don't you comment the sun emoji so we can open our eyes together to the brightness of the morning. Something like that. I'll see you guys in the next round. As always, like, subscribe, and yeet.